What's up? What's up? All right, today we've got pure Q&A plus we're just gonna talk about reality creation. So whatever questions you got, let's talk about them. I'm here. All right. So to even start this off, right? One of the things that I want to start with, the conversation I just had with a client, right? And we were talking about the logical mind and how it can deceive you when it comes to reality creation, right? So one of the things that we think about is nice people getting good things, right? Good people deserve good things. If I do right by others, things should go well for me. If I treat others well, then my prosperity should come. But this is not true. This is not how life works. Let's put this in the context of relationships, right? A lot of men wonder why they can't get the woman that they want. A lot of women wonder why they can't get the man that they want. They will say things like, good guys finish last. Men these days don't want good women anymore. Is that really how it is? No, of course not. It's not how it is. It's just that you being a nice person does not give you the rights to me. Just because somebody is good does not give them entitlement to you. And so this is the same thing, the same mindset we have to take to this space. Just because you're a quote unquote nice person, a good person, and what is good even based on? Good is based on what? This construct of reality. It's based on morality. And what is morality based on? Morality is based on a man-made system, what people say is right and wrong. Right? So we take man-made rules and we bring them into reality creation and we say, oh, okay, if I do good things, I'll get good things. If I treat people right, I will have people treat me right. But this is not the case. You can look around and see people that don't treat others nice, as you will judge, right? Because that's all we can do is we can judge from our perspective. You can look and see people that don't treat people right, and guess what? They get what they want. And then you can also see some people that you feel do right by others. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's your grandmother. Maybe it's your mother. Maybe it's somebody close to you that is so kind, so loving, would give the shirt off of their back, but always find themselves struggling. Why? It's because who is worthy of anything? If we judge things purely based off of a human perspective, who is worthy of anything? Who is worthy of anything, right? If you want to bring this from some kind of Christian perspective or a church or religious perspective, right? You would say we're all sinners. That's what we would say. We would say we're all sinners, but we've been given grace. If you want to think about it from a purely metaphysical perspective, right? No one is worthy of anything, but you have everything. Sources within you, you have already been granted everything. So it's not that you have to go out and do anything to get what you want. It's all yours by right of consciousness. By right of consciousness. Let's put this back in the relationship perspective. All right. What is the difference between someone who gets the women that they want, or a woman that gets the man they want, and someone who doesn't? What is typically the difference? It's not looks. It's mindset. It's mindset, right? We all know some people. We might not think they're the most attractive, but they get who they want to have. Why? Why is this? It's all a mindset. Everything is yours by right of consciousness. The more confident, it's as if the more confident you are when you walk into a situation, all of a sudden that situation gives you more. It just gives you more. It's almost as if everything mirrors everything. And so when you walk into life expecting good things to happen, guess what happens? Good things. When you walk around thinking, man, I can't, nothing ever happens for me. Guess what happens? You are met. Your expectation is met by reality. Okay? Now, I go there. Now I want to go on a different train. I want to go purely to reality creation. Right? I'm trying to keep everything concise. You ain't got no notes today. We're going straight off into the dome. One thing that is always interesting is when I speak to people about manifesting, there's always a limiting belief. Not always, but typically there's a limiting belief that we bring in. And it's something around what we have to do to get. It's always this transactional nature of things, right? I have to do this. I have to get this, right? I have to manifest this by doing this. I have to affirm or visualize, or, maybe I'm not doing it right. There's always some kind of condition that we have to pull them back from, right? I want to be very, very clear, right? To manifest what you want, anytime you believe you have to do something, anything that you believe you have to do is a limiting belief. The kingdom is within you, meaning everything is within you. Source is within you. All that there is within you. All right. And so if it's within you, you don't have to go anywhere or prove anything or work to be anything to get it. You have to get it, give it to yourself. Right? You have to give it to yourself. Now, let's go a step further. How do we give it to ourselves? Because we believe that we give it to ourselves through these techniques. The affirming, visualizing, whatever you want to do. Right? Howling at the moon during a full moon. Right? Taking a bath in salt and, doing the sign of the cross with blood on your forehead. Whatever you want to do. We believe that these processes hold power. But here's the truth. These processes mean absolutely nothing except the meaning that you give to them. So whenever you are walking around as the creator of your reality and you are saying things like, I have to affirm this way, it didn't work, so I have to change. Maybe I have to change the words. Maybe I have to do this. Maybe I have to think harder, visualize stronger, more intensely, right? So you get that vein popping out your forehead, right? The more that we put conditions, the more that we cling, the more that we strive, the more that we work, the further away that we get. When we put these conditions, when we try to make the game harder, but to give ourselves extra credit. Let me put this rule on it, but what if I have anxiety, right? We make our own block, but you say I just have to do this, but I have anxiety. Just making the game harder. This is, hear me, okay? Hear me. The source within you, the infinite realities within you, the infinite consciousness within you. One of the ways that we describe this energy of God is we call it unconditional love. Unconditional love. This is what we call it, unconditional. The word unconditional, if I'm correct, it means with no conditions. So we go into this space where we're trying to get things from source, but we are putting all these conditions on it. We are the ones adding conditions when there is none. The only condition for you to have the life that you want, the only condition is that you are breathing right now. Is that you are here right now. This is the only condition. For you to have the life that you want, to be in alignment with everything that you want, it is that you are here. Everything else is additional. Everything else is simply a limitation. You just are. I am that I am. His name of source. He just is. I am that I am all that there is. I simply am. We are the ones who add the but at the end of it. But, and we want to cling to our pain. We want to describe what we've went through. But this is happening in my life. But these people did this. But my mind continues to wander here. But my emotions feel like this. It does not matter. You are the one who says, because my emotions are erupting, now I'm out of alignment. You are the one who says, I have to visualize. Maybe I'm not doing it right. You're the one making those rules. Do you see that? You are the one who's scared. I'm not seeing what I want in my reality. Maybe I have to affirm more. I'm not seeing what I want. Maybe I have to do this more, do that more. We are the ones who make these stipulations. The only thing that you have to do is rest into the awareness that you are already all that there is. You have to forget everything that you've been taught. Forget everything. The school told you to work hard to get what you want. Forget it. It's yours by divine right. It's yours even if you don't want it. When you feel bad, it's still yours. When you feel good, it's still just as much yours. When you feel anxiety, it's still just as much yours. It is all you. You don't have to do anything. You simply have to rest, to know, to fall in the awareness of who your divine ass is. That's all you have to do. Right? Is look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am enough right now. When I say no matter what, add that no matter what at the end of the affirmations, man, I truly mean no matter what. Stop making this conditional. It's not about what you have to do. It's not about what you have to be. You're already that person. The only thing keeping you from what you want is you refuse to believe, to rest, to fall into the knowing of who you are. Even when you're quote unquote negative, you still are worthy. Do you understand? We are the ones who are putting these stipulations on ourselves. We are the ones saying it's hard to be positive. Who said you always have to be positive? Who said that? Who says you always have to feel good? Who said that? Who said things always have to look right? Who said that? It's us saying that. You are worthy no matter what. All you have to do, right? Let's really make this simple. All you have to do is claim what you want. How? I can already hear it. How? Say it. And then all you have to do is know that no matter what, I am all that there is. I'm in alignment with everything that I want. What if I see an unfavorable situation? You still are. What if you feel negative? You still are. You just are. The only thing that has been keeping you from alignment your whole life is you've been programmed to think differently. And then what did they do? Whenever everybody starts to get a little bit conscious, what do? They shove the law of attraction into your face. Feeling. You got to feel it. Emotions. Making it even more harder. Just creating a whole bunch of people about to have seizures trying to think too. Oh, well, I got to be happy. But I just found out this person passed away. You see how ridiculous it is to say that I have to be happy all the time. I have to think positive all the time. It's a ridiculous notion. It is denying you your humanity. And this is what we are doing when we come into this space and we try to say things like, you have to be open. What does that mean? You have to be open. Open to receive. How do you do that? Simply say that you already are. We are the ones making these rules. I've heard somebody say, if you don't go out and give, you can't get your prosperity. What do you mean if I don't go out and give? So I have to do something in the external world to have what is mine by divine right within me? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You simply have to know who you are and know that all things are working out for your good. All things, no matter what. No matter what means no matter what. Unconditional love, the unconditional love of Source flowing within you is unconditional. What makes it inspired action? What makes it inspired action? It's almost as if we believe we can measure this with some ruler. We're making this much more complex than it is. It's inspired action. When you fall into the knowing of who you are, it's uninspired action. It's not inspired action when you're trying to strive and be something that you don't believe you are. What is uninspired action? It is believing that worthiness is a feeling and I'm trying to conjure up some feeling of worthiness. What is inspired action? When I don't feel worthy, yet I still declare, doesn't matter how I feel, I am still worthy. I am still worthy, and then I do whatever I need to do right then. That is inspired action. It's inspired action because you say so. We have all of these limiting beliefs. You have to regulate the nervous system. What? Reprogram the subconscious. What? You have to always think positive. What? Basically, you have to be a robot. And we just buy into these things, right? Maybe in their reality, they have to do that, but you don't. Those things are all limiting you. Those things are all, do you see? Those things are all making the source within you conditional. It is making the source within you, the God within you, conditional. It is saying source can only provide if you do this. You have made it transactional. That is the opposite of unconditional. And that's the absolute opposite of unconditional. You are all that there is, no matter what, right now, in this moment, no matter how you feel. In the moment that you start reminding yourself of that, when you're going through a negative situation and you say, how do I respond to this situation I don't want? And you say, oh shit, I'm worthy no matter what. I already have it no matter what, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will just do the best that I can. I will be present in this moment, do the best that I can, and I will stop judging myself. This is where we throw ourselves off. We go through this negative situation and we're the ones who judge ourselves. And we're the ones who say, oh, maybe I didn't handle that right. And we create the reality where we didn't. Therefore, we can't get what we want. Sometimes I want to just grab y'all by the shoulders and just say, come on, man, you got this. Stop limiting yourself. Whatever question you ask, the answer is you already have it. It does not matter. What about my anxiety? It doesn't matter. You already have it. Tell yourself that. It doesn't matter about my anxiety. I already have it. I am that I am no matter what. No matter what means no matter what. It means no matter what. This is why you've been programmed to strive and work to keep you separate from source, believing God is out there, you're down here. Believing you have to work and strive. Just by working and striving, you know what you are actually declaring? By working and striving to be worthy, you're declaring that you're not. By working and striving to be loved, I have to do all these things to be loved, you're declaring that you're not. Just by you striving to do things, you're declaring that you are the opposite. Stop. Even when you're not seeing results, just because you can't see them does not mean they're not happening. It's all unfolding for you no matter what. Meaning no matter what you see, it's still unfolding for you. No matter how you feel, it's still unfolding for you. No matter how I react, oh, that's a big one. No matter how I react, because what you are saying when you say, if I see this unfavorable situation, how do I have to act? What you're saying is, I have to go through something bad. And I have to act a certain way just so I can get what I want. This is what you're saying. Conditional. Unconditional, infinite intelligence, infinite love, unconditional grace, unconditional giving. This is a source that only says yes. This is a source that only says yes. So when you step into the knowing of who you are, and that becomes your identity, just as much as your name is your identity. I am all that I want to be no matter what. And you take that no matter what part to heart. What if I don't feel good no matter what? What if I feel good no matter what? What if I don't believe I reacted to this situation the right way and now I think I'm out no matter what? No matter what. All right? No matter what. But I had to get that out the way. Had to get that out the way. It's all yours by right of pure consciousness. But whatever questions y'all have, go and ask away. We're going to be here for another while today. And let's just talk. And that's fair, right? Yeah, you can be your biggest critic. That's fine. But I want you to give yourself grace. Even if you are your biggest critic, you're still worthy. Even if I am being critical of myself, I'm still worthy. It is coming back to that knowing of who you are no matter what. I'm still in alignment. Everything is still unfolding perfectly for me no matter what. Be critical. Be not critical. Do you hear that? Be critical. Be uncritical. Be angry. Be happy. Do what you want to do, but come back to the awareness of who you are. Give your money away. Don't give your money away. You're still prosperity. Donate to charity. Don't donate to charity. You're still prosperity. Have fun. Don't have fun. You're still prosperity. Be yourself and know who you are. Be still and know that I am God. It doesn't say affirm harder and know that God hears you. Be still and know that I am God. Okay? And then let's talk about that shadow work, because I saw that question. I like that question, all right? When we talk about shadow work, one of the beautiful quotes by Carl Jung was, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it destiny or fate. I'm sorry, one second. Let me pull up this chat so I can make sure I get all the questions. Okay, cool. All right. So yes, this is the thing, right? When it comes to shadow work, do all the shadow work you want, but do not make it conditional. Okay, hear that? Do not make it conditional. Work on yourself. Make yourself better for you. But understand, it's not tied. This is not tied to you getting the things that you want. Right? We talked about those 5 levels of creation yesterday. We talked about them a little bit earlier today. And one of the levels, right, we went from number 1 through 5. Level 3 was the healer. Okay? I got you. All right, I got you. So number 3 is the healer. And what the healer archetype represents on this reality creation levels is the healer is I heal, I strive to be worthy. Right? It's so we go down this path of therapy. We go down this path of life coaching. We go down this path of reading all the books, self-improvement, working on our emotional intelligence. These things are all good for your personality. But when it comes to your worthiness for what you want, they are meaningless. Okay? They are absolutely meaningless. What's up, Miss Christina? How you doing? They are absolutely meaningless. Okay? So when you talk about shadow work, it's talking about going into the depths of who you are, the unconscious things that you have, right? Maybe realizing, walking through life, and you are walking and you see something and you react a certain way, and you realize that you've been reacting this certain way for all this time, and this might be why I have this reality that I want or I don't want. And once you come to that awareness right now, you can make a decision that now my reality is going to change. I'm choosing a new reality right now. You make the decision right then. And then you continue to do the work in every moment to confront that thought. However, because you already made the decision, you already are inherently worthy. You already are divine. Everything is already unfolding for you. But you do this work. Why? You don't do this work to bargain with God. You don't do this healing work as a transaction. You're not putting quarters into a vending machine to get your manifestation. You're doing these things, number 1, to silence the ego, to bring your ego on board, to have the ego think different thoughts. So you can just go through life and have a better experience because you're not telling the same shitty story all the time. But Source heard you the first time. Ask and you will receive. Ask and you shall receive. When we read scripture, we see will, right? Whatever you ask the Father in my name will be given to you, whatsoever you ask, right? When we hit that word will in scripture, remember in the realm of God, there is no time. There is no time. So when we see that word will, it doesn't mean will in the future. It means will as in an absolute statement of ownership. Will is an absolute statement of ownership. That's what it means. So when it says ask and you will receive, all you have to do, what is an ask? Every word that you say is an affirmation. So in this present moment, when I make a declaration of who I am, what I want to experience, my expectations of reality, they must show up. This is law. This is law. Or as the Old Testament says, this is what we call Lord. Lord, law, same thing. Tomato, tomato. Lord and law are interchangeable. interchangeable. Okay? And so when you don't see your desires manifest, how do you combat thinking it's your fault? How do you combat thinking it's your fault? Okay? Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. If you do not see your desires manifest, it's not about blaming, fault, not fault. It's not about fixing. It's really not even about right timing. Everything is yours, okay? Everything is yours. Everything that you declare, you will have. It is about not reacting to the middle like it is the end. Who says you don't have your desires? What do you mean you don't have your desires? If you don't see them, they're still unfolding. The moment that you declare, that you make that declaration, I don't have them, you are reacting to the middle like it is the end. Do you hear me? Whenever we say, oh, I don't have it, what do you mean you don't have it? That's what is, you're not manifesting anything. You're granting it to yourself. You're having it right now. And then it must unfold in your reality. If you don't see it, that person ain't acting right. The situation don't look right. Whatever the case may be, whatever excuse your ego wants to give you and whisper in your ear, all that it means, what you're saying is just the middle. It is just the middle. Declare it as such. To get from where you were to where you have to be, things have to change, right? They can't stay the same. You don't want them to stay the same. You want them to go from there to here. To get from there to there, it has to change. Now, where does our issue lie? Is when we don't follow the rules. Because the rules say, judge not by appearance, judge righteously. So we look out and it's still unfolding. And things change, and our human perception wants to judge it as right, wrong, bad. It's bad. It's not here. What if it didn't work? You are looking out there, and you are judging by appearance. You're not judging righteously. What does judge righteously mean? I don't care what the situation looks like. The God within me is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly. It must be. We have to get out of our own way. There's no such thing as not having. What if it didn't work? What do you mean it didn't work? What do you mean it didn't work? What does that mean? You gave it to yourself. It must happen. If you do not see it, it's still unfolding. Point blank, period. This is a game of you versus you. You are the one making the story. I've been doing this work and I don't see anything. You are making up that story. What do you mean you don't see anything? It's changing whether you see it or not. You already have it. You already have it. Stop changing the story in the middle. Stop changing the story in the middle. Walk by faith, not by sight. Blessed is he who believes before he sees. But so many times we are waiting on the external world to validate. I've been doing this affirmation and visualizing, and it hasn't happened in 2.3 days. And I'm looking out there saying it didn't work. It didn't happen. Now what do I do? What do you do? What do you mean? What do you do? You already have it. It's still the middle. So don't change the story. Now you're declaring that you don't have it. Which one do you want? Do you want it or not? Do you have it or not? You can't have it and not have it at the same time. You have to make the decision. This is a game of you. You versus you. There's nobody else. You're making the rules. The moment you're catching yourself saying this, now you got to catch yourself. Give yourself grace. Okay, I do have it. It's still unfolding perfectly. You don't have to go back and change the past. Who you're being right now changes the past. So you simply make the declaration, no, it's still unfolding. I have it. What if it looks like you don't have it? I have it. What if it looks like the opposite is showing up? Ooh, spooky. I still have it. It's still unfolding perfectly. Things have to change to get me what I want. And so I trust the divine nature of Source within me. This is why Source showed up to Job as when Job was going through it. Job was going through it, and Source said, were you there when I created the galaxies? Could you start doing that shit? Could you do that? Who are you to tell me if it's working or not. Who are you to look out at reality and say if it's right or wrong? Who are you? Who are we to do that? With our limited perception, we can only see 0.001% of reality. Who are we to say it's working out perfectly or not? We can't judge it, but there's a loophole that we've been told. Job 22:28, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added unto thee. We've been given the loophole. Oh my God. So if I look out there and I can't possibly judge it, but whatever I say is what it is, I simply always say that it is what it is. I simply stay loyal to my story. I want you to commit to your story the same way you want to commit to that man. You're trying to manifest a person or a thing. You're trying to manifest a person to be faithful to you, but you can't even be faithful to yourself. How is that? How does that work? You have to be faithful to yourself. It's all working out for me. The only reason we don't have it is what? It's because we keep saying that we don't. 2 days pass and and now we're changing our story. We start manifesting something different. We start manifesting that we don't have it now. The rodeo. Rodeo lap and tap. Right? So we have to be loyal to ourselves. We have to be loyal to ourselves. Right? We have to be loyal to ourselves. Today is going to be the day of challenging all beliefs, right? Even that belief, right? Because this is what we're going to do. Right? We're challenging everything today. We're challenging everything today. So even when I'm saying this, right? But do we use our money wisely now? Why would we get more? Okay? Even when we think of that, that would make it conditional. That still makes it conditional. That still makes it conditional. You mean to tell me that people that are going around and they're just getting money and they're beyond needs, they're just buying whatever they want? To the point where they don't even have to be wise with money anymore, right? Because you can have whatever you want. Do they follow these same rules? We are the ones who make these limitations. We are the ones who make these limitations. It's not about what you do. It's not transactional. You don't have to do anything to get anything. You simply have to know you are who you are. Jesus said it. Who's worthy of anything? When he was talking, I think it was John, or was it John or Paul? Right. I'm a man, yet I am who I am. I'm a man. I'm unworthy like all of you, yet I know exactly who I am. I know exactly who I am. I am source. I understand the divinity within me. Jesus was trying to tell y'all how to live, trying to tell us how to be. Of course, we think that we have to do. We try to make things transactional. That's part of our ego. That's our human perception. But it's never transactional. It's always perfect, right? I believe that God's plan for me is the plan that he gives me, that I desire, and that I stay faithful to. That's the plan that God has for me. Right? What I stay faithful to is God's plan for me. But do I believe that God picks and chooses based on my wants and desires what I will get? No. God gives us what we're faithful to. Right? You always get who you are. Right? As within, so without. Which even that is a limiting belief, because it's not even, there's no within, it's all you. Whatever you are is what you get. Point blank period. You get whatever you are in consciousness. Consciousness is reality. Consciousness is God. And it's absolutely all perfect. The only reason that we say things aren't perfect and we can manifest imperfection is because we can't see the full picture. So if you could see the wholeness, if you could see all that there is, right? Let's think about it like this. Source is all that there is. So every single reality, every single timeline, Every single version of you is source. Source is what it sees that all right now, all unfolding perfectly for everybody. So everything is whole and complete and absolutely perfection. The only reason we judge things as negatively, right? Yeah, I'll repeat. Think about source like this. Source is all that there is, right? So every version of us, every single timeline, every single reality, every single means to an end, every single path to get anywhere is already done. Creation is finished. So God does not identify with lack because it's all that there is. The only reason that we identify with lack is because we are so far in the details that we judge what we see without seeing the whole, and then we declare that this is the end. We declare that this is imperfect, and source still says yes. This is unconditional love. We still get what we decree it to be. This is why things happen to us. It's for that very reason right there. And yeah, exactly. Everything is perfect but our perception. And we have to renew our mind. Romans 12:2, right? Do not conform to the world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is us. This is our work. This is our work. We don't have to bargain. We don't have to do anything transactionally to get anything from source. We simply have to be still and know who we are. All right? And if we saw the fullness, we would never doubt. Exactly. Exactly. This is why it says walk by faith, not by sight. Right? We're the ones, we have the work cut out for us in our faith. We have the work cut out for us in our faith. Right? Reality can be nothing but perfect because source is nothing but perfect. None but absolute beauty, absolute perfection. Right. And the only thing that we have to do to get what we want is unconditionally know that. It's unconditionally know who we are. Right. But whenever we put conditions on it, I have to do this to do that. I'm not visualizing right. I'm not affirming right. I'm not doing this right. When we make it conditional, it becomes difficult. We always feel like we're striving. We're like the hamster on the wheel of becoming, just running. Right? A person on a treadmill with the carrot in front of them. Your manifestation right in front of you, just running for it, trying to be something that you already are. Creating the illusion of lack, striving, trying. I have to be more worthy. I have to be more love. You know what I'm saying? But I just went on vacation. How come I don't have it? I'm love now, right? No, you already are love. Just by trying to be love, you are declaring that you are not love. Simply be still and know that I am God. Be still and know who you are. What do you mean by that? Can I heal myself? Do you mean what do you mean? And so even just to be clear, I don't make a separation between myself and God. I am within God the same way that God is within me. We are so close, it is absolutely inseparable. I am the operant power of source, right? Source is all that there is. Creation is done. Reality is complete. It is whole. It is finished. By my spoken word, right? I allow source to work through me. But even that is not giving myself the credit for who I am. Even that is not giving ourselves credit for who we are. Right. I would challenge you, and I would challenge you like this. You never lost any ability. But the decreeing, the statement that we have lost some kind of ability, as if the power within us, as if the infiniteness of who we are could ever be diminished or increased, right there is an illusion. So maybe you don't feel like you're tapped in, but I would challenge you to identify why you don't feel like you're tapped in. What is it? What is it that you've been going through lately, or you've been experiencing, or you've been feeling that is pulling you away from the truth of who you are? And that is where the work is, right? It's never truly a blockage, right? It's always a part of our. It's always something in our consciousness. Now, also, if you've changed, let's say you've changed something that's made it more difficult for you to realize who you are, right? This is why things like even diet are important, right? Because sometimes if we change our diet, we start eating differently, it impacts our mind, and maybe we're not as relaxed, or because of whatever they put in the food, all of a sudden now we are starting to be a little bit more impulsive with our thoughts, and so by studying our habits, we can really start clearing out some of those quote unquote blockages. All right. No problem. What else y'all got? I've been pretty quiet lately. I hope that's a good thing. I'll take the quiet for a good thing, man. I shall take the quiet for a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. Keep pondering. I love that. Keep pondering. It is in the pondering where we find the prosperity. Right? Even though it's not something that we have to find. Right? It's always within us. Good. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, my brother. We are all in this together, man. We're all in this together, right? We create. I think we try to make this manifesting so much more complicated than it is, right? The most important thing for us to know is be still and know that I am God. And when I say that, I'll be very clear. I'm not talking about be still and know that there is some God in the sky. I'm talking about be still and literally exactly what I said, know that I am God. Know that me and God are one. God and I are one. My Father does the work. So I'm just still knowing that whatever I declare is already unfolding. There's nothing for me to do. There's no conditions for me to put on it. I am that I am no matter what. I am that I am no matter what. Thank you. It's my mom, it's my mom. She passed her genes down to your boy. So appreciate that. All right. But when we come into this space, the key for us, $100, I'll send it to you. Right, the key for us is this manifesting game, right? This manifesting game. This is a journey of self-improvement. And it's not a journey of self-improvement in the traditional way of hard work. This is a journey of releasing everything that the world has beat into your brain, programmed into your mind, and going back to who you really are. You cannot become what you already are. You don't have to try to be your name, do you? You don't have to try to be your name. It's just you. The source within you is more, that is more your birthright than your name. And when we make it conditional, I have to do this affirming, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to walk like this, I have to think like that, I have to be like this. Well, we make this a whole conditional thing. And then when we don't see it, we start questioning, am I not it? It's just the middle. Stop declaring, stop pretending that you are something that you're not. Stop pretending that you are something that you are not. You are more source than you will ever be human. You are exponentially so much more source than you are human that it's unbelievable. You are pure divinity, pure consciousness, pure awareness. In reality, it's pure awareness, pure consciousness. Right? Pure consciousness. Get what you want Get more in your life by doing less. Start to dismantle those old beliefs. Lay them aside. Die to the old self. Die to the old self. Right? Start to dismantle those thoughts. Start declaring that you're worthy even when you don't feel like it. Start understanding the truth of who you are. It's all you. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Too late to change your mind. I already sent you the bill. It's yours. No. If you have to work hard for a goal, how do you... Y'all was all coming to this with the same jokes. All right. If you have to work hard for a goal, how do you differ between that and it being hard? Oh, shit. I missed it. How do you differ between that and it being hard, meaning it's not for you? Okay. Who said it's not for you? Who said it's not for you? Once again, these are constructs that we make in our mind. These are constructs that we make in our mind. The thought that something has to be difficult is a construct that we make in our mind. The thought that something is not for us is another construct that we make in our mind. Okay? So this is, on this journey, what's going to happen is as you're trying to get what you want, and even trying to get what you want is a gross, it's a perversion of what we're doing. Granting yourself that which is already yours by divine right. So when you grant yourself that which is already yours by divine right, now all of a sudden these beliefs are going to come up. Beliefs like, what if it's difficult? Does that mean it's not mine? How do I differentiate between the two? Who says anything has to be difficult? That's a world programming. And who says anything is not yours? This is another world programming. Everything is yours by divine right. I will always go back to Jesus saying, who is worthy of anything? Who is worthy of anything? It's all yours by right of consciousness. It is all yours by right of consciousness. Okay? Just saying it wasn't meant for me. If it was, it would be mine. Basically redirecting. So it's telling us. What does that mean? Hold up. Say that again, my brother, Xavier. So basically, redirecting is us telling us something. Redirecting is us telling us something. Oh, so what is redirecting us is trying to tell us something. All right. What is redirecting us is trying to tell us something. Okay. I guess I can get with that. Right? But even the redirection, right? It depends on how we're using that word. So yeah, everything is trying to tell us something, but just think about this in two ways, okay? You're going to have things that you do not want. They're going to give you clarity on what you actually do want. And then you're going to have things that you do want that are going to give you more clarity on what you even want more. When I talk about redirection, that is what I'm talking about. It's that when you're walking through life, you are constantly being confronted by your own consciousness at every moment. And it's always giving you an opportunity to choose differently. So when we talk about redirecting, like we'll use it in a human sense as if source would tell us no. We put it in this sense like the divine within you will tell you no. Here's the thing. When we even talk about redirection in let's talk about it like this. You decide that you want prosperity. Okay? You're walking down the path to get prosperity. And in your mind, you believe, oh shit, I know I need this 10K for whatever. And I'm going to enter this competition and the payout is 10K. So right now, you have made up in your mind, I have decided I want prosperity. This is the payout is 10K. This is where it is. What happens when I get into that competition and I don't even place? I do my hardest and I get fourth. What does that mean? Some would call that redirection. I just call it part of the perfect unfolding. Part of the perfect unfolding. The example that I always give is this. We believe that our prosperity is going to come in one way. Okay, I needed that 10K. You go into that competition and all of a sudden you don't do well. You don't do well. But then all of a sudden somebody comes up to you afterwards and they, hey, like, I like your work. I got this opportunity. It's unpaid. It's unpaid. Are you open for it? And now what do we say? Okay, well, if you're in the mindset, well, no, I need that money. Now I can't do unpaid shit. Well, shit, you might miss out on a blessing, perhaps. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But if you understand, you just look at everything as the perfect unfolding. Okay, I'm here for a reason. Something must be unfolding. I bless everything is absolutely perfect. I go with the flow. Well, then you never know what that opportunity can lead you to. So when I talk about redirection, I'm not even talking about it in a sense where you hit a roadblock and all of a sudden you don't know where to go. It's all perfect. It's all unfolding perfectly. No, yes, doesn't matter. It's still perfect. I don't know whose path I need to cross to help them along the way. I don't know whose path I need to cross for them to help me along the way. I don't know. I don't know if the payout from this competition, it might not be today. Maybe my work is submitted there and it sits there for a couple months. And then I get a call out the blue. Boom. And now instead of 10K, I get 20 on a recurring deal. Who knows? But I wouldn't even call that redirection. So I think hopefully I answered that correctly. But when I'm talking about redirection, I'm purely talking about you see things that you don't like and you choose differently. On the path, there is no redirection because every single thing is perfect. And I could make a, you know what I'm saying? I could settle and say that we could call those things redirection, but are they truly? My path is made perfect, right? Source makes our path perfect. Is there truly redirection on the perfect path, right? When I stay in the end, I am prosperity. The path naturally shows up, right? It's me staying in the end that creates the path. Not going down the path that creates the end. Staying in the end creates the path. So if I'm in the end, every single step is perfection. Perfection. Every single part of it is perfection. Huh? Let me see. Dang, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. And you're still perfect in your doubts. Miss Katrina, you're still absolutely perfect in your doubt. In your doubt, you're still perfectly, because what we have to understand is we believe faith is a feeling. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is not a feeling. It never says, as a man filleth, so is he. It doesn't say that. It says, as a man thinketh, so is he. My faith is perfect. Right? My faith is made perfect in weakness. No matter how I'm feeling, tired, weak, up, down, good, bad, I might think that I have the feeling of faith. And then it's easy to say so in that feeling. But I maintain the faith by my words, by my thoughts, no matter how I feel. Right? Every single part is absolutely perfect. See, and I like that because this is what I want. This is really how I like to portray it, right? My bad, Bianca. I didn't even see that. Do you believe that love is actually soft and gentle and not hard work? Absolutely. Absolutely. Whoa. Hold up. From a relationship perspective, let me clarify. Matter of fact, I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna answer that thoroughly. Right after I answer this one. Okay, every single part is perfection. Within you, there's infinite versions of you. There are infinite versions of you. Okay? Now sometimes because of the wholeness of who we are. Think about it like this, okay? Within you is our infinite versions of you. Infinite means infinite. It means beyond counting. And all of these infinite versions of you make up the infiniteness of who you are, the wholeness of you. And so because we can only see life from one perspective at a time, it brings on the illusion of lack. But the truth is that every single perspective, the perspective of you, broke, the perspective of you rich, the perspective of you in every single scenario is absolutely a perfect, beautiful, divine part of the whole. Now let's give another paradox. Right? Wherever an aspect of God is, all of God is there. So even though you feel as if you are a fragment because you only see from this one perspective at a time, all of source is still within you in this part right now. God is indivisible. Indivisible. You are not a piece of God trying to get whole, trying to work to be better and worthy. You are all of source pretending to be a fragment. You are absolute perfection. So everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. That version of you don't like perfect. And the only reason that you want to change it, okay? The only reason that you want to change it is because we don't see the full picture. Okay? Now, we keep bringing human logical thinking into this, right? I'm trying to break this down as logically as possible. If I only see from a perspective, one perspective of the fullness of who I am, if you are infinite versions of you, but you can only see one version at a time, because at a soul level, you know you're so much more, guess what? You're always going to want to expand. This is why desire gives you more desire, because you are an infinite being and you are constantly desiring to expand into the fullness of who you are. Constantly. You constantly want to reach. You constantly see things and want things. You are always wanting more and wanting this and not liking that and seeing this. And you are always in the process of trying to figure out what you want to create next. This is just part of your infiniteness. But we have to realize that every single part of us is whole and perfect. We judge a certain part as negative. We judge certain parts as negative. And we look at that part and we say, oh, no, I don't want this. I want that. Let me work to get out of this version. But because you are all that there is, on a soul level, guess what your soul wants? More. It wants more. Right? And no, it's not greed. I do not believe in Satan. I do not believe in two powers. Even the fall is just a falling into duality. The ability to choose between quote unquote light and dark. We just had to make a human concession to this story, and we created these other entities that we think are outside of us, but the universe is within you. All this is doing, it is highlighting the point that you can choose between what you think is good, or you can focus on what you don't want, what you think is bad. And then we externalize this in our situation or in our civilization. As a collective consciousness, we are outsourcing light and dark in our society. So we look out. Satan's not down there. God's not up here. It's all outside of us. It's all outside of us right now. It's all really within us. These are different aspects of our own consciousness, just being projected out into reality. So we see certain things and we say, well, if God's all good, why did he create that? Because God is all good, but God is the wholeness of everything. We just judge from one piece, but we can create from light or dark. Creation doesn't care about good and bad. Creation doesn't judge. God, there's nothing to be forgiven by God because God doesn't judge. God doesn't identify with lack. This is why even when you go to these stories, right? When you go to scripture, when you go to these parables, and the father is always represented by a certain person. Okay, one of my favorites is the prodigal son. Right? The prodigal son went out representing us. Because remember, in scripture, we play all the parts. Prodigal son went out and he started coming back to the father. Father representing your I am awareness, the God within you. And the moment he started coming back, the father ran out and met him, threw him a party. All right? And then the son started trying to tell him all the things he did wrong, and the father didn't even acknowledge it. Source can only, God, the God within you can only identify with absolute perfection. This is why whenever we speak about something that in a way that we would not use to define God, we are told we are using the Lord's name in vain. Because I am that I am. The name of God is I am that I am. And if that is the name of source, anytime that I say I am anything in a negative connotation, I'm using God's name in vain. Right. But I can still create that. It's still unconditional love, right? You see the paradox. All right. So, of course, when we think of these from human perspectives and we try to externalize things and say, okay, there's separate powers, we're making it a little messy. We'll put it like that. We're making it messy when it's not. It is all within us. Okay? It is all within us. But how would we define evil? Why? How could we limit others' evil? Like, how would we define others' evil? Even that is a judgment based on my own concept of morality. Maybe there are a few things that we could all agree that people shouldn't do. Sure, of course, we can think of those things, right? But how many times do we know that somebody has went through something terrible and then all of a sudden they have been a spokesperson, they've helped so many people because of that, right? So creation just uses whatever situation to create. We judge it as right, wrong, good, bad, but we even have figures that come here to earth and their sole mission is to disrupt, polarize, choose this, choose that. And we look back in history and we judge them as right or wrong. But even now, we living in the time that we are in now, can we honestly say that we still trust history 100%? There are 8 billion people here. Recently, we went through something called COVID. And so many people had different experiences of this. Some people breezed through it. Some people were devastated by it. But how will history write it? History will write it from a perspective, right? History will write it from a perspective, the same way that history's been writing everything from a perspective. But how accurate are those perspectives? Whose perspectives are they? That's just their version of truth, right? And so we kind of agree on this as a consciousness and we judge it as right or wrong, but what's good and bad? Where would we be? This is like the whole, on a smaller level, right? You go through a breakup, somebody breaks your heart. You're sad as hell for a little while. And then you meet the woman of your dreams, the man of your dreams. And you say, thank God I went through that because now I'm with you. What's right and wrong? Did the situation change? No. You simply changed. You simply changed, right? Right and wrong are constructs of a human egotistical mind. This is the book of Genesis talking about us biting or eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is simply a descending into duality. When you were in the garden, you were in unity. You weren't judging shit. You were just provided for, okay, cool. And then you had your birth, right? Your soul jumped into the pineal gland of your fetus, animated the body. You had your baptism in the womb. God's spirit flowed over the waters and boom, here your ass came out. Your ass came out. And then Adam and Eve represent different aspects of consciousness, right? We want to make this a story of gender roles, of course, but it just represents the different aspects of consciousness. Male, masculine Adam, the conscious mind Adam, the subconscious mind, the feminine aspect Eve. Same person. A story of consciousness. Right? But we are the ones who judge things as good and bad. This is why Adam was given the task of what? Look out there and name the animals. What do the animals represent? Everything. You name everything. So you see things in your external reality and you judge them as right or wrong, good or bad. And you have dominion. So whatever you say it is what it is. We say things are evil and we attach to it and then we create more of it in our life. We say things are bad and we create more of it in our life, right? Life. All right, here we go. Hold your pearls, all right? Life is meaningless. Life is absolutely meaningless. But we look out with our consciousness with our awareness, and we start judging things, which is natural for us humans. We're humans. We like to judge shit. We start judging things as right or wrong, good or bad. Right? Oh, shit. Whew, let there be light, you feel me? We're the ones who judge things as good and bad. But creation uses whatever to create. Another example I always give, if there's a natural disaster coming through here, we're on live, and a tornado flows through, pulls me out this window, crushes me, and you all see it. We would say it's an act of the divine. It's an act of source. But would you call source bad for that? No. Society would come back stronger. Nature would get better. Certain souls who wanted to check out would check out. And the purpose of life is to know yourself as the creator. Why does God incarnate within you? To know himself in this linear reality. To allow the fourth dimension to cast a shadow of our desires, a shadow of our expectations from within us, to allow ourselves to walk down the path of realizing who we are. What is more beautiful than that? If you are source and you are all that there is, and everything is created and you have everything, and then you create this divine body. Appreciate you. You create this divine vessel, which is you and I. This divine vessel meant to hold your light. Okay? Meant to hold all of your divinity, which is what we are. We are the divine vessel meant to hold the divinity of Source. And Source puts himself in this divine vessel, but it's so much light, so much power in it that boom, it explodes and it turns into all of us. And it's it turns into this illusion of separation. Right? This is actually a poetic, metaphorical way to explain how Source came down here and became your divine ass. The purpose is to know yourself as Source. The purpose is to know yourself as the creator. The purpose is to have the life that you want. The purpose is for you to experientially know yourself as Source. This is what we call time delay. This linear reality is the unfolding of the fourth dimension from within you, the walking through it. It is you collapsing time to travel through space. Or collapsing space to travel through time. Let's say that. Collapsing space, walking through space to travel through time. This is why we use time as a measurement, because we have to collapse space to get through it. You understand right now, if I tell you to go to your mom's house, you're going to be like, it's going to take me 40 minutes. I have to collapse space for 40 minutes to get there. God, who says God would allow anything, right? Like allow what? That would be a complete disruption of your free will. You are the creator. You are Source. That would be us judging things as right and wrong, saying that God doesn't allow us to hurt something. You have dominion to create as you please. And you can create a reality of heaven here, or you can create a reality of hell here. This is us bringing our logic into this and trying to judge things and trying to understand Source. Trying to bring logic into a spiritual process of the divine. Source is beyond our comprehension, right? From our linear perspective, from our human perspective, the example I always give, it's like putting a cup in the ocean, studying the cup and thinking that you understand the ocean because you can study that cup, right? And I feel you. I hear you. I refuse to believe that there's two powers, because why would I believe that? That would dilute who I am. That would dilute infinite intelligence. That would mean that God is not everything, right? That would mean that God is not all that there is. If there's two powers, God's not all that there is, right? That would be a direct contradiction of Source. If God is infinite intelligence, all that there is, how can there be two powers? How can we say there's a pure good and a pure evil? If God is all that there is, everything, then how can we say there's two powers? It does not make sense. The Bible is a book of consciousness. These are aspects of yourself. So when we read the Bible, this is not a history book telling us stories of a past that happened, where some man jumped into a sea and put his staff in the water and split it and walked through it. This is a book of consciousness. You play every character. The stories, there's a main character in all these stories who is you. And there are the battles that he's going through, which are aspects of your consciousness fighting. When we talk about Satan, we're talking about adverse thoughts, thoughts of lies, Satan the deceiver, the thoughts within your mind that say you're not worthy, that you have to work to get what you want. The voice within Job that says, did Job fear God for nothing? Highlighting the truth that Job was only worshiping God to get stuff, believing in two powers, right? This is why Job went down that spiritual journey that he went. It wasn't that he was arguing with people and losing stuff and talking to his wife. These were all aspects of his consciousness playing out within him. This is what the Bible is. All these stories are you. They are you. They're your divine ass, right? It is because we are the ones who bit the fruit. This is why in Genesis, we talk about the split, the fall from the garden. And in Revelation, we talk about the marriage of the Lamb and the bride. This is an entire story of consciousness. You are birthed into duality and you rise into your Christ consciousness. This is all a story of yo, beautiful, divine ass, right? Because from one perspective, we can only see one perspective, right? We can only see 0.001% of reality. We can only see this small part of reality, this tiny fraction. So for us to think we can only see this tiny fraction and then explain infinity would be a contradiction. Jesus is an aspect of you. Jesus is the story of you rising into the fullness of who you are. This is what I really want to talk about, right? If you believe Jesus is a historical figure or not, it wouldn't matter. Do I believe that slaves were meant to be tortured and that was the plan? No, I don't believe that was part of some plan, right? That would be a violation of our free will. Or you could go to Deuteronomy, right? Like the Israelites do, and talk about the transatlantic slave trade and do all that, right? We could do that. We could do either way, right? But here's the thing. We are still a collective consciousness. So we're still manifesting as a collective. So if thoughts are put in our mind, we as a collective still project reality to the future and pull ourselves into the future based on those thoughts, right? We are creating our reality on a very micro level and on a macro level. So I'm creating on one level, you're creating on another level. Or I'm creating on one level, we're all creating together on another level. Let's put it like that. Right? Trying to get you to see my perspective. It's old books that aren't confirmed, but we believe. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Hear me, okay? Hear me on this. It does not matter if factually these things happened or not. We were there in another life, but we are not there now. We are here in this present moment. And from this present moment, as a collective, as a group of people, we can read history books, and because there is no past, there is no future, they are just thoughts. Our consciousness as a whole can make those events real or not. That's what I'm saying. From a metaphysical perspective, reality is nothing but consciousness. This is the observer effect. When consciousness focuses on something, we collapse particles into waves. If a tree falls in the middle of nowhere and nobody's around, does it make a sound? No, because there's no consciousness there. It is our consciousness that makes things true or not. So the important thing is not whether this happened historically or not. That's irrelevant, does not matter. The importance is what is the core of this message trying to tell me to allow me to take full control and authority of my life. We could all sit and debate history for days, weeks, months. but would it improve our lives? Would we be able to create the life that we desire? So that is what the message that I'm talking about. I'm not here to debate history. I'm here to help you live the life that you deserve. So that's why we look at these from a metaphysical perspective. If Jesus was real, if these things are real in the past, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is the message from a metaphysical perspective, from the perspective that I believe in. Right? How are these scriptures trying to tell us what to do? How are they trying to show us, right? How are they trying to show us how to live the best life possible? Right? This is the nature of a story. If I'm telling a child a parable, I'm going to give them a very literal story. The tortoise and the hare. There was a tortoise, there was a hare, they were running, they were racing. Okay? I'm gonna get to it. There's a tortoise and a hare. They were racing, they were running. And the kid is going to be in, oh my God, I love that story. And then later on when they go through something, I'm gonna say, no. The real point of this message is patience. The real point of this story is patience. This is how our ancestors, this is how the ancients passed down knowledge, through parables, through stories, right? So yes, we can talk about that's faith, believing He's real. What I'm saying is it's irrelevant to the point that I'm making. You're not gonna pull me to a faith where I believe that Jesus is real or not. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm talking about is the message in Scripture, the metaphysical meaning. The metaphysical meaning, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? That is exactly what I'm talking about, the metaphysical meaning, right? And absolutely, I like that point. It's real. It is real from whatever perspective. Absolutely. From whatever perspective, it's real. From a historical perspective, yes, right? And what actually makes reality what it is our belief in it. It's our faith. It's our faith that makes things real. This is the case when it comes to history. This is the case when it comes to reality creation. It is our faith that makes it real, right? It is our belief that makes it real. Hell no, we don't need them. What we need that for? I'm a man of peace. I'm a peaceful brother. I just get passionate every once in a while. I get what you're saying. I get your point. I get your point. But I'm not conceding my point. I get your point, but I'm not conceding my point. Right? I am not. I said I'm a peaceful brother, not a pacifist. I'm a peaceful brother. I'm for sure not a pacifist. I'm a man of peace. I'm a man of peace and love, you feel me? Right? But I do have this conversation quite often, right? Where I'm like, okay, I don't really care. Like we could talk about the historical facts of the Scripture all we want. Doesn't move me, right? I want to know what your beliefs are. Like, I want to know how this Scripture makes your life better. Okay. I want to know how the point that you believe is real or not changes, right? Because whether it's real or not, let's say I could say yes. I could say, yeah, absolutely, it's real. It's his story. It's history. It's real. But then I could still look at it purely from a metaphysical sense. And then I could say, okay, cool, right? Or I could look at it as real and I could look at it as just something outside of me to be worshiped. All right? And that's where I think the conversation I prefer to have it is off the topic of if it's real or not, but on the topic of how, you know what I'm saying? Because the moment that I hear something that's like, you know, if it's in God's will, when we put these power outside of us and it's like, we make things like there's this ledger And we make things kind of like, oh, well, sources judging what we're asking for and giving to us based on this rule and that rule. If we're doing this and righteous, that's where I always have to push back and say, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that. That's not what my higher self tells me. That's not what the God within me tells me. Right. Shoot, how did I come up with this knowledge? A whole bunch of ways. Studying, but then also inner experiences, my own inner experiences. Right. Yeah, I could do Alexander one-on-one class. That's funny. No, I love the engagement. Now, I remember back in the day when I first started doing these lives, and I was giving lives, and the only people that were coming on were people that were just cussing me out. And now that's far and few between, but most of the people when we had these discussions, it's very, very, respectful. And I always like it. I always enjoy it. I enjoy the back and forth because that's just part of my nature. I don't get offended. I like it. I enjoy it. People say shit all the time on here. And I just see it. Sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. But I like it. What you mean contradictory to faith? What you mean contradictory to faith, girl? Get that blood pressure back up. What you talking about? All right, best book recommendation. Best book recommendation. Damn, that's a good one. All right, on what subject? You want to talk about reality creation? If we talk about reality creation, I would say the best book, what really started me on this journey was a Dr. Joe Dispenza book. It was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and Becoming Supernatural. I read those back to back, but since then I've read all of them. Right, so reality creation, Dr. Joe Dispenza. You can even go on YouTube and get a lot of his meditations for the free ski. But of course now there's AI, right? There's AI. So not all of it is him, but any Neville Goddard books, reality creation, if you want to go to Neville Goddard books or Neville Goddard's lectures, right? Neville Goddard's lectures are really gold on YouTube. You got to go to the old ones. If it sounds too new, it's AI. Don't listen to them. All right, or you can, you know what I'm saying? Just use your discernment. The old ones that sound like they recorded on a tape, you know what I'm saying? That's what I like. I like Neville Goddard a lot. I love Florence Scovel Shinn. She's super cold. If you like Neville, you'll love Florence Scovel Shinn. She really got me big into like creating really cool affirmations. So the affirmations that I come up with now, they're all inspired. I started doing them after I started reading her because she just has really transformative affirmations. One of them was like, my prosperity comes to me like mushrooms overnight. And I was like, oh shit, visual. It just gives you a visualization of your money just popping out of nowhere. Or my pockets are crammed and jammed with money. I love that one. So yeah, those are probably the three. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn. Neville and Florence are the first ones. When I first started listening to Neville, right, how do I say this? When I first started listening to Neville, a lot of his stuff kind of went over my head because I started listening to him a long time ago. The first time I heard him, I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because he uses scripture a lot. And shit, Neville Goddard talks like me. I'll put it like, he uses scripture a lot. He uses certain stories. He uses scripture a lot. But you know how old folks talk. He puts a whole lot of every word is very impactful, right? So his every single sentence is like profound. You're like, oh shit, gotta write this shit down. Let me pause this motherfucker, right? So it wasn't until I started having some more mystical experiences and I started seeing the Bible in my own way, right? It wasn't until I started having inner experiences with God that kind of gave me and for just put the way to read the Bible in my mind, right? There's certain things I didn't even read, and I just knew them, and then I went into the Bible. I was like, oh shit, it's right here. What the fuck? And then I could actually go back and understand Neville in a completely different way, where, everything just kind of fell into place, right? So those two, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. I liked, okay. So, I said I don't believe God's will because he's judging us. But if I believe in God, it seems like I'm arguing who he is and don't really have faith in him. If I did, there would be no question of his will. I just think we have two different perspectives. My faith, I would put my faith up against anybody's. I would put my faith up against anybody. This is all I talk about is faith. That is the core of my message, is faith in God, except not in a faith in a God outside of you. If I ask you about God and you start thinking about something outside of yourself, I'm going to say that you're missing the mark. But the moment that when I speak of God, I'm talking about the source within me. I'm talking about the God that created me, the God that resides within me, the God that breathes within me. I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven that is within me. And everything that I talk about on here is centered on a absolute faith in the divinity within God. The divinity within God, the divinity within me that carries out everything. Right? And the will of God is that I have everything that I want. The will of God is that all of his children, all of his sons, all of his daughters have everything that they want. And when I started practicing this law, now I have everything. Now I have everything that I want. Now I lack nothing. Right? I desire nothing. I walk through life with the absolute knowing that God is right there with me in every single step that I take, no matter how I feel. This is absolute faith. There is absolutely no crack, no chink in my faith. Can somebody put their name in the chat? Yeah. It's Florence. Okay, so the three people were Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Dr. Joe, Joe, Dispenza, Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Number two, Florence, Florence, Scoville. I'm about to lie. Scovel, something like that. And then Shin, Shinn. There we go. And then who else? Neville Goddard, Neville, Goddard, Goddard. What the hell is shovel aching? That autocorrect just slaps your ass around. That autocorrect just whooped your ass. No problem. There we go. What else y'all want to talk about, man? You got questions on anything else? I'm surprised YouTube isn't. I'm surprised no questions on the YouTube right now. Check Instagram. Which book by her? The game of life? Is it the game of life and how to play it? The game of life and how to play it, and then your word is your wand? I would say those are probably my two. So from Florence, the game of life and how to play it. Oh, let me put y'all on another gem that I just thought about. Dr. Robert Russell, I believe. Dr. Robert Russell, Russell. He has a book called You Too Can Be Prosperous. You too can be prosperous. It is an absolute gem when it comes to wealth consciousness, money consciousness. The secret door to success, yeah. I like the old school teachers because they'll put all this, they'll shove all this information into 33 pages of a book. And 4 of them are an introduction, a table of contents, and a about me section. And the rest of it is just straight knowledge. Every paragraph you gotta meditate on. It's pure knowledge. Matter of fact, let's read some Florence right now. Why not? PDF. All right, the game of life and how to play it. Let's read some right now. Game changer. Let's read this. Let's break it down. All right, here we go. Chapter 1, the game. This is from the game of life and how to play it. All right, so most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle. It is a game. It is a game, however, which cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. And the Old and the New Testaments give the rules of the game with wonderful clearness. Jesus Christ taught that it was a great game of giving and receiving. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This means that whatever man sends out in word or deed will return to him. What he gives, he will receive. If he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are taught also that the imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. Proverbs 4:23, keep thy heart or imagination with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. This means that what man images, sooner or later externalizes in his affairs. I know of a man who feared a certain disease. It was a very rare disease and difficult to get, but he pictured it continually and read about it until it manifested in his body, and he died, the victim of distorted imagination. So we see, to play successfully the game of life, we must train the imaging faculty. A person with an imaging faculty trained to imagine only good brings into his life every righteous desire of his heart: health, wealth, love, friends, perfect self-expression, his highest ideals. Okay? The imagination has been called the scissors of the mind, and it is ever cutting day by day the pictures man sees there, and sooner or later he meets his own creations in his outer world. To train the imagination successfully, man must understand the workings of his mind. The Greeks said, know thyself, right? Consciousness, know yourself, right? There are 3 departments of the mind: the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. The subconscious is simply power without direction. It is like steam or electricity, and it does what it is directed to do. It has no power of induction. Whatever man feels deeply or images clearly is impressed upon the subconscious mind and carried out in minutest detail. For example, a woman I know, when a child, always made believe she was a widow. She dressed up in black clothes and wore a long black veil, and people thought she was very clever and amusing. She grew up and married a man with whom she was deeply in love. In a short time, he died, and she wore black and a sweeping veil for many years. The picture of herself as a widow was impressed upon the subconscious mind, and in due time worked itself out regardless of the havoc created. The conscious mind has been called mortal or carnal mind. It is the human mind and sees life as it appears to be. It sees death, disaster, sickness, poverty, and limitation of every kind, and it impresses the subconscious. The superconscious mind is the God mind within each man and is the realm of perfect ideas. In it is the perfect pattern spoken of by Plato, the divine design, for there is a divine design for each person. There is a place that you are to feel and no one else can feel, something you are to do which no one else can do. There is a perfect picture of this in the superconscious mind. It usually flashes across the conscious as an unattainable ideal, something too good to be true. Right? In reality, it is man's true destiny or destination flashed to him from the infinite intelligence which is within himself. Many people, however, are in ignorance of their true destinies and are striving for things and situations which do not belong to them and would only bring failure and dissatisfaction if attained. For example, a woman came to me and asked to speak the word that she would marry a certain man with whom she was very much in love. She called him A.B. A.B. She called him A.B. I remember this. Okay, she called him A.B. When I see A, I'm like, Alex. Alex. All right. I replied that this would be a violation of spiritual law, but that I would speak the word for the right man, the divine selection, the man who belonged to her by divine rights. I added, if A.B. is the right man, you can't lose him. And if he isn't, you will receive his equivalent. She saw A.B. frequently, but no headway was made in their friendship. One evening she called and said, do you know, for the last week, A.B. hasn't seemed so wonderful to me. I replied, maybe he is not the divine selection. Another man may be the right one. Soon after that, she met another man who fell in love with her at once and who said she was his ideal. In fact, he said all the things that she had always wished A.B. would say to her. She remarked, it was quite uncanny. She soon returned his love and lost all interest in A.B. This shows the law of substitution. A right idea was substituted for a wrong one. Therefore, there was no loss or sacrifice involved. Jesus Christ said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And he said the kingdom was within man. The kingdom is the realm of right ideas or the divine pattern. Ooh-wee. All right, I got two more paragraphs. I'm going to stop for a second. Jesus Christ taught that man's words played a leading part in the game of life. By your words, ye are justified, and by your words, ye are condemned, right? Or life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? Many people have brought disaster into their lives through idle words, right? That's exactly what I was going to say. See, a lot of this, if you've been here for a while, a lot of this, I like the base, but I don't agree 100% with everything that Florence says. A lot of these are limitations, right? A lot of these are limitations. But from Florence's teachings, I also believe that Florence believed that there was only one reality. That she believed that we were all within one reality and didn't really believe in alternate realities and things like that. She teaches from a very worldly way, right? But yeah, absolutely. So she could have gotten whoever she wanted. This woman could have had whatever she wanted. She could have had the first man or not. But where there is power, where there is absolute power here, is that let's say that you really want somebody and you start actually affirming or being in the state of awareness that you have that divine selection, right? Once you know that to be true, then it must unfold for you, whether it's that person or not, which is one of the reasons why I say general. Be a little bit more general, because I want you to have everything. And sometimes we get so blinded by who we think we want, we don't really see the right person, right? But you can have whoever you want, anything that you want. It's all possible. It's all you. They're all connected to you. They're all within you, right? But we don't have to place these limitations on us, right? Right? Anyone could be divine, for sure. Do I believe everyone has a divine match? Yes, but I think anybody can be your divine match. I believe anybody can be your divine match. I mean, honestly, I think if I like somebody enough, they like me enough, we can be each other's divine match, point blank, period. I don't think there's one person for everybody. If there's one person you're meant to be with, no. I think that because of consciousness, because we can have whatever we want by right of consciousness, we can have whatever we want, right? See, you say JK, but I wouldn't even say JK or put the laugh. I just said it like it is. Right? I think anybody that I meet up with one-on-one, when we start talking, anybody is gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is my soulmate. This is different, right? And I believe that is true for a lot of people when you get to a certain level of consciousness. Not even consciousness. When you get to a certain level of just not even consciousness, just emotional awareness about yourself. At a certain point, if you've done enough work, if you like somebody enough and they like you, you can make it work if you want to. You can make it work. What really is the complexity in relationships? We choose people we don't really want. We start looking out. We start peeking over the fence to see if something's better over there. Right, that's really where the complexity comes in. But yeah, I believe that we can have whatever we want, whoever we want. We can make it work with whoever. But what I love about Florence is that she highlights the importance of words. Very particular, very, very a stickler for how you speak. Right, no word will return empty. And this is a truth, right? This is why even Neville said, once you can control your inner thought, you can lay aside all processes. The moment that you start controlling every word you say in thought and in speech externally, now you don't have to affirm, you don't have to do shit. You are always going to be met with the beauty of your words and your expectations all the time, right? You create that heaven for yourself. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Those that love it, right, or reap the fruit or something like that, right? So the moment that you start to really, really embody, really buy into the words you say, really be careful and only speak what you want, right? 5 agreements, right? Or is it 4 agreements? Whatever the case may be. Yeah, be impeccable with your word. Once you start to embody that, shoot, life becomes a playground. Life becomes a playground, okay? Oh, here's a good one. So, all right, so fortunately the law works both ways, and a situation of lack may be changed to one of plenty. All right, I like this example. For example, a woman came to me one hot summer's day for a treatment for prosperity. She was worn out, dejected, and discouraged. She said she possessed just $8 in the world. I said, good. We'll bless the $8 in the world. Oh, shit. I read the same line twice. Okay, she said she possessed just $8 in the world. I said, good. We'll bless the $8 and multiplied them as Jesus Christ multiplied the loaves and fishes, right? Understanding scripture from a very metaphysical process, right? For he taught that every man had the power to bless and to multiply, to heal and to prosper, right? She said, what shall I do next? I replied, follow intuition. Have you a hunch to do anything or to go anywhere? Intuition means intuition, or to be taught from within. It is man's unerring guide, and I will deal more fully with its laws in the following chapter. Okay, so the woman replied, I don't know. I seem to have a hunch to go home. I've just enough money for a car fare. Her home was in a distant city and was one of lack and limitation. And the reasoning mind or intellect would have said, stay in New York and get work and make some money. I replied, then go home. Never violate a hunch. I spoke the following words for her. Infinite Spirit, oh, here we go with the affirmation. Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance for her, whatever her name is. She is an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to her by divine right. I told her to repeat it continually also. She left for home immediately. In calling on a woman one day, she linked up with an old friend of her family. Through this friend, she received thousands of dollars in the most miraculous way. She has said to me often, tell people about the woman who came to you with $8 in a hunch. There is always plenty on man's pathway, but it can only be brought into manifestation through desire, faith, or the spoken word. Jesus Christ brought out clearly that man must make the first move. Matthew 7:7. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. In the scriptures we read, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me. Infinite intelligence, God, is ever ready to carry out man's smallest or greatest demands. Key word, right? Every desire uttered or unexpressed is a demand. Every desire uttered or unexpressed is a demand. We are often startled by having a wish suddenly fulfilled. For example, one Easter, having seen many beautiful rose trees in the florist's windows, I wished I would receive one, and for an instant saw it mentally being carried in the door. Easter came, and with it a beautiful rose tree. I thanked my friend the following day and told her it was just what I had wanted. She replied, I didn't send you a rose tree. I sent you lilies. The man had mixed the order and sent me a rose tree simply because I had started the law in action and I had to have a rose tree. Nothing stands between man and his highest ideals and every desire of his heart but doubt and fear. When man can wish without worrying, every desire will be instantly fulfilled. Beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Let me see if there's anything else I want to read. I think going general helps for sure. I love going general because, first of all, I just think it provides a better framework to have a better life. We could talk about the benefits, and I could definitely see that, right? Where going general helps to kind of deal with resistance, but even resistance is a limiting belief, right? There is no resistance except for what I believe to be resistance. The moment that I drop the belief that I have resistance, the moment I drop that belief, then the resistance, poof, disappears. There is no resistance. There is no spoon. There's nothing to change, right? But I think going general allows people. So I think the example I gave is my brother came on here yesterday. He was talking about, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, and we spoke about a specific person. And the advice was, instead of just focusing on her, let's focus on women in general. Because if I have an expectation that women don't respond to me, or I'm not saying that's what he was saying, but let's say that I have an expectation that women don't respond to me well, and I'm just trying to change one person. But in my mind, I believe that when women deal with me, after a certain point, they kind of fall off, they get lazy, they, you know what I'm saying, they lose interest in your boy, right? Well, then that could manifest in my relationship. So even if I get this person to show up for me, how long until she gets bored, right? The beginning is always exciting. And so when she comes back, if I still have that underlying belief that, things will fall apart, right? Women get lazy. If I still have that underlying expectation, the reality will have to meet that expectation and prove me right, right? Reality has to prove us right, right? I appreciate you, man. You have a good one. All right. And then, okay, so I've been manifesting for over a month and my 3D hasn't changed. Am I doing something wrong? Yes. The only thing that you are doing wrong is that you are declaring that it hasn't changed. It's changing in every moment. You just don't see it. It's just changing in a way that you don't see, right? We have to stop declaring that the middle is the end. Just because you look out there, you don't see anything, it's all changing for you no matter what. You are the one who is making the story that nothing is changing. This is why scripture says, whatever you ask in the Father's name shall be given to you. Until now, you've asked for nothing. Meaning it doesn't matter if you've asked for a month, 2 months. What are you aware of being right now? So I could say I'm doing everything right, but if I'm still in my awareness, I'm still saying it hasn't showed up for X amount of time, I'm creating a reality where it hasn't shown up. All right? Let me turn this. Matter of fact, let me just get I thought I had a hoodie right here. I'm cold and I'm like, All right. So if I'm if I'm making a declaration that nothing is changing, then reality says yes. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Okay. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. So reality's always changing. But what story are you saying? Of course, you already have it. So what does it matter what you see? You already have it. Everything is unfolding perfectly. No matter what. When you look out at reality, instead of saying nothing is changing, what am I doing wrong? Because just by saying that you're creating a reality where nothing's changing and you're doing something wrong, start looking at the truth of the situation. I already have it because this is what I've said. This is what I've stated. I already have it because this is what I stated. And now, if I do not see it out there, everything is changing for me. Everything becomes proof. Any change whatsoever, because reality has to go from point A to point B. Any change is proof that it's changing for me. If I don't see it, it's just showing up outside of my awareness, but it must change. You already have it. So if you already have something, how could you possibly say that it's not working? How could you possibly say it hasn't shown up yet? You already have it. You already have it. It's unfolding for you. We like to put these time limits on it. I need it in 2 days, 3 days, 5 months. If in my awareness, I have not had something for 20 years, and then I sit and I affirm for 2 days and I say, where is it? Right? This is a life-changing thing. No longer are you going to look at the middle and declare it's the end, because this is what we're doing. It's still unfolding. You already have it. It's still unfolding. But the moment you look out there and you say, nothing's changed, what do I do? You are making a declaration, an assumption that you don't have it anymore. You're looking out there and you're acting like the middle is the end. It's just the middle. You're still in the unfolding. The situation might not look ideal. I don't care what the situation looks like, but the source within me is perfect. So the situation must be unfolding perfectly. It's all perfect. It's all for me, no matter what. No matter what means no matter what. No matter what. Right? So no, you're not. The only thing that you're doing wrong is questioning if you're doing something wrong. If you question, are you doing something wrong? Well, then you're making it conditional. You're thinking you have to do something to get what you want. It's yours by divine right. I really want this to snap. I really want this to snap with y'all, right? Everything is yours by divine right. You have it because you are source. You have everything that you want because you are source. You are absolutely source. It's unconditional. The God within you gives to you unconditionally. Absolutely unconditionally. It's all yours. It's all for you. All right, let's see if this will sit up for a little bit while we charge. It's all for you. Okay. Does growing ever stop? Why is the growing? Why does growing exist? Not from age, but from learning. And I got you. And no, learning never stops. It's a constant thing, right? Learning never stops. The dusk before dawn. I got you. Good. I'm glad I helped, Reggie. If you want more clarity, man, just let me know if I need to expand on any part that I just said. Because that's what I've really been focused on giving y'all lately is that perspective that I want you to do less to get more. If you've been putting too much faith on the affirming, on the visualizations, right? And you've been making things conditional. I have to do this to get what I want. I have to do this to get my goals, to get my reality to change. I want you to drop that illusion. I want you to drop that lie and realize that you are already all that you need to be, to have everything. You are infinitely worthy. And it does not matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you react. You already have it, so it doesn't matter. When people say you have to react differently, what they're saying is you just have to know that you already have it no matter what reality shows you. That is what we're saying. We're not saying that it's how you react that gets you the thing. That would be making it conditional. You simply go through whatever you're going through and know you already have it. Know yourself as source. Know yourself as the creator. I already have it. It's already mine. Therefore, it is just part of the unfolding. I might look at it and judge it from my human perspective as right or wrong, but it's not right. It can't be right. It can't be wrong. Or it's not wrong. It can't be wrong. It must be right because the source within me is perfect. I'm only judging it as negatively because I only see such a small percentage of what's going on. Who are we to judge? Right? And think of growth like this. I always say that, right? Think of this like that. I'm not commanding y'all to do nothing, just, this is how I think about it. I need to really start working on saying that. Well, I don't really need to start working on it, but this is how I think about it. I will always grow. I will always be trying to grow into a more fuller version of me because of how infinite I am. Because I can only see life from one perspective at a time, I'm always going to feel a longing to pull on one of these other infinite personalities. And that's always going to create a fun experience of growth, of learning, of expansion, of knowledge, of whatever the case may be, right? We learn in all areas, right? When you start eating foods and trying new foods, you start expanding. You get more money, you want to try new things. You want to cook different things. It's expansion, right? Even if you find that woman of your dreams, that man of your dreams, sexually, y'all going to keep expanding and exploring with one another. Hopefully y'all not just doing the one thing the whole time, right? But this is the nature of you because of your vastness. So don't look at it as, working to get something. Just think of it as a part of knowing yourself in your unlimitedness even better, right? It's just a fun experience. It is just an experience of the infiniteness, the vastness within you being played out because you can only experience one perspective. If you were all that you were right now, if you were all infinite versions right now, you know what I'm saying, there would be, this is the nature. Okay. Also, let's think about it like this. Let's try to think about it like this. This is how I think about it. I did it again. This is how I think about it. Source is infinite. Okay. And we tend to think of infiniteness as a fixed thing. It's infinite. But what infinite really means, it's always expanding. It's all that there is and it's always expanding. This is what makes it infinite. It's not fixed. It's always expanding outside, right? Source is a circle where the edge, the outside of it is always expanding and the center of it is you. All that there is. And so you are always expanding. Source is always expanding. You're always trying to see more of your infiniteness because this is your divine nature. It's a paradox. Source is all that there is. It's always expanding. It's a paradox. It's hard to wrap our human minds around, but this is the nature of infinity, right? If we know that what physicists, people that study the universe say the universe is always expanding. It is always expanding. This is the nature of Source. It's always expanding. It's all shifting around and moving and changing. This is the divine nature of you. So think of expansion and growth and learning as part of who you are. Part of who would you be if you just stopped learning right now and growing and expanding? Right? Who would you be? Would you really enjoy that life? Let's see here. Dusk Before Dawn. Oh, and there was a question. Now, it wasn't Neville that I was reading. I was reading Florence Scovel Shinn. Excuse me. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay? One of my students once asked me to explain the darkness before the dawn. Is this even Florence Scovel Shinn? Is this an excerpt from somebody else? Or I'll read this. I think this is it. One of my students once asked me to explain the darkness before the dawn. I'll just read it anyway. I refer to the fact that often before the big demonstration, everything seems to go wrong, and deep depression clouds the consciousness. It means that out of the subconscious are rising the doubts and fears of the ages. These old derelict sounds just like her. All right, these old derelicts of the subconscious rise to the surface to be put out. It is then that man should clap his cymbals like Jehoshaphat and give thanks that he is saved, even though he seems surrounded by the enemy, the situation of lack or disease. The student continued, "How long must one remain in the dark?" And I replied, "Until one can see in the dark. And casting the burden enables one to see in the dark." The dark night of the soul, right? The dark night of the soul. Let me find the fullness of it. Let me find the whole thing. Y'all know what book that's in? Is that the Game of Life, How to Play It? Or is that a different book? Yeah, maybe read it. Let me see. Game of Life, okay. I could have just Controlled F this one. Can I do that? Here we go. Oh, it's like 4 of them. Let me see. Dawn of one day. Such is the salutation of the dawn. Here we go. I found it. Appreciate y'all. Look at y'all. Just testing to see if you would embrace the light. All right, here we go. I have noticed, let me see here. I have noticed in casting the burden, after a little while, one seems to see clearly. It is impossible to have clear vision while in the throes of carnal mind. Doubts and fear poison the mind and body, and the imagination runs riot, attracting disaster and disease. In steadily repeating the affirmation, I cast this burden on the Christ within and go free. The vision clears, and with it a feeling of relief. And sooner or later comes the manifestation of good, be it health, happiness, or supply. One of my students asked me to explain the darkness before the dawn. I referred in a preceding chapter to the fact that often before the big demonstration, everything seems to go wrong, and deep depression clouds the consciousness. It means that out of the subconscious are rising the doubts and fears of the ages. These old derelicts of the subconscious rise to the surface to be put out. It is then that man should clap his cymbals like Jehoshaphat and give thanks that he is saved, even though he seems surrounded by the enemy, the situation of lack or disease. The student continued, "How long must one remain in the dark?" And I replied, "Until one can see in the dark. And casting the burden enables one to see in the dark." In order to impress the subconscious, active faith is always essential. Faith without works is dead. In these chapters, I have endeavored to bring out this point. Jesus Christ showed active faith when he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground before he gave thanks for the loaves and the fishes. I will give another example showing how necessary this step is. In fact, active faith is the bridge over which man passes to his promised land. Through misunderstanding, a woman had been separated from her husband, whom she loved deeply. He refused all offers of reconciliation and would not communicate with her in any way. It sounds like some SPs, I know. All right, coming into the knowledge of spiritual law, she denied the appearance of separation. She made this statement: "There is no separation in divine mind. Therefore, I cannot be separated from the love and companionship which are mine by divine right." Bars. God damn, bars right there. There is no separation in divine mind. Therefore, I cannot be separated from the love and companionship which are mine by divine right. There's nothing out there. It's all within me. There is no person out there. They are within me. There's no separation. So she showed active faith by arranging a place for him at the table every day, thereby impressing the subconscious with the picture of his return. Over a year passed, but she never wavered. And one day he walked in. I want y'all to think about that, okay? Think about that. Because we bring so much logic in this process. Listen to this. This is a crazy manifestation right here. This is beyond the reasoning mind. She showed active faith by arranging a place for him at the table every day, thereby impressing the subconscious with a picture of his return. Over a year passed, but she never wavered. And one day he walked in? The fuck? One day he walked in? Bro, that's faith right there. That's not wavering. That is the definition of you don't have to do shit. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to look around for it. You don't have to do anything. Conviction. She didn't have to go anywhere. Back then, they didn't even have cell phones, did they? Motherfucker had to send a pigeon if he wanted to talk to somebody. He had to write a level. My dearest betrothed. Madam dearest. Right, and give it to a pigeon. They had to fly it over there. She made the plate for this man, and he walked in one day. That shit fire. That shit fire to me. You think circumstances matter? That shit is showing you. You think you have to do something to get what you want? This is showing you right here, okay? The subconscious mind is often impressed through music. Music has a fourth dimensional quality and releases the soul from imprisonment. It makes wonderful things seem possible and easy of accomplishment. I have a friend who uses her Victrola daily for this purpose. It puts her in perfect harmony and releases the imagination. Another woman often dances while making her affirmations. The rhythm and harmony of music and motion carry her words forth with tremendous power. I'm finna go to the strip club and start saying my affirmations then, right? The student must remember also not to despise the day of small things. Invariably, before a demonstration come signs of land. Right? And then she talks about birds before land. Right? Before Columbus reached America, he saw birds and twigs which showed him land was near. So it is with a demonstration, but often the student mistakes it for the demonstration itself and is disappointed. For example, a woman had spoken the word for a set of dishes. Not long afterwards, a friend gave her a dish which was old and cracked. She came to me and said, well, I asked for a set of dishes and all I got was a cracked plate. I replied, the plate was only signs of land. It shows your dishes are coming. Look upon it as birds and seaweed. And not long afterwards, the dishes came. Continually making believe impresses the subconscious. If one makes believe he is rich and makes believe he is successful, in due time he will reap. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. I can already see myself just throwing dollars and saying affirmations. Just come on, baby. We are prosperity. You feel me? That's what I like. That's what I want to do. But the music is cool. This is cute. This is cool. This is cool. Ooh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So the next time that I say I'm going to meditate, I just got these things that I'm trying to manifest. I got to really lock in. So I'm going to talk to y'all later. I'm finna go out real quick, go on a little drive and clear my mind. Let's see, what else is in here? What else is in here? Okay. I like this one because this is kind of in direct contradiction of how we have to handle money to get more. I don't have to handle what I have any kind of way to get more. More is mine. All right, so for example, here we go. I know of a woman who is very poor, but no one could make her feel poor, right? Here we go. Circumstances don't matter. Here we go. She earned a small amount of money from rich friends who constantly reminded her of her poverty and to be careful and saving, right? Regardless of their admonitions, admonitions is crazy. Regardless of their admonitions, she would spend all her earnings on a hat or make someone a gift and be in a rapturous state of mind. Her thoughts were always centered on beautiful clothes and rings and things, but without envying others. Key word right there, without envying others. She lived in the world of the wondrous, and only riches seemed real to her. Before long, she married a rich man, and the rings and things became visible. I do not know whether the man was the divine selection, but opulence had to manifest in her life as she had imagined only opulence. There is no peace or happiness for man until he has erased all fears from the subconscious. Fear is misdirected energy and must be redirected or transmuted into faith. Jesus Christ said, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? All things are possible to him that believeth." I am asked so often by my students, how can I get rid of fear? I reply, by walking up to the thing you are afraid of, right? This goes against that thought that we have to suppress our fear, suppress our emotions. I have to always feel good. You have to walk up and confront the things that are scaring you, the things that are making you feel fear, and be able to speak to them, right? The example that I always give is Neo in the Matrix, right? When the bullets start coming to him, by the end, he stops running. He stops fighting. He simply says no. He simply says no. He simply speaks to reality, right? Your emotions are just showing you what you have been expecting. And so your only job is to look at those emotions and point them to whatever you want. You can simply look at those emotions, right? And use them, transmute them into whatever you want. Whatever you want, right? You can turn sadness into a desire to get something. You could turn anger into motivation. You can do whatever you want with it, right? But do not get caught in it. Don't start running from it. Don't start suppressing it, thinking that you always got to be happy. You always got to do this or feel this way to get what you want. Everything is yours by divine right. And the moment you walk into that, knowing all of your emotions simply become an opportunity to create. This is the divine nature of you. All right, this is the divine nature of you. Okay. Let's see what else is in here. My girl just dropping some gems up in here. All right. I'm shown in previous chapters. It's no longer. Okay, here we go. Here's another one just about consciousness. This part is about pure consciousness. Okay. Man should watch himself hourly to detect if his motive for action is fear or faith, right? This kind of goes into that inspired action part, right? Choose ye this day whom we shall serve, fear or faith. Perhaps one's fear is of personality. Then do not avoid the people feared. Be willing to meet them cheerfully, and they will either prove golden links in the chain of one's good, or disappear harmoniously from one's pathway, right? What you confront either becomes something that you can use or it simply disappears, fades away, right? Perhaps one's fear is of disease or germs. Then one should be fearless and undisturbed in a germ-laden situation and he would be immune. One can only contract germs while vibrating at the same rate as the germ. And fear drags men down to the level of the germ, right? Replace germ with whatever. Replace germ with whatever. Of course, the disease-laden germ is the product of carnal mind, as all thought must objectify. Germs do not exist in the superconscious or divine mind. So when I always am saying things like the source within you, God doesn't identify with lack. We have to go down that path by ourselves. This is why we feel so much separation. If you think of that negative emotion, right? When I talk about a negative emotion, when I say your ego makes up stories, your ego will make up stories. There's only one energy. There's one emotion, energy and motion, right? The one energy is source, and it flows through you, and it hits you. And because of the story that you are telling, you translate that emotion as positive or negative, right? So when we feel something that is negative, we feel separate. On a soul level, you feel separate from source. This is why you feel quote unquote bad, right? And so that's why we have to be mindful to know that, right? So the source within you doesn't identify with those things. That's why you feel alone and separated. It's just a signal to you that you are thinking something that's not in the direction of who you really are, okay? Of who you really are. Let me see. So in the twinkling of an eye, man's release will come when he realizes there is no power in evil. There's no power in evil. That would be assuming that there's two powers. Who you are, your absolute fulfillment, absolute source, absolute power, absolute awareness, consciousness, love, all these things, right? It's you. You're all of that. But then when we start putting faith into lack, into unfulfillment, into poverty, we are assuming there's more than one power. There never is. There absolutely never is, all right? So the material world will fade away, and the fourth dimensional world, the world of the wondrous, will swing into manifestation. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Cool. What else y'all got? What else y'all got, man? Appreciate y'all for recommending. No. I'm not Muslim. No. Nah. I just identify as Alex. That's all. Y'all got any more questions? Anything else y'all want to walk through, talk about? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. Let me see here. Yes, and absolutely. To answer that question, faith is considered action. When we talk about faith without works is dead, the works is action. Absolutely. The works is action. So when in scripture it says, do not conform to the world, but be renewed, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, what it is talking about is the work through faith, right? That is the work. That is where you have to put your effort in, right? That's where you have to put your effort in. And a lot of it is in removing the programming, removing those beliefs that you're not worthy, that you have to work to be worthy, that you're not loved, that you have to work to be loved, remembering who you are on a core level, reminding yourself who you truly are, and pushing yourself into a more beautiful version of yourself, right? Which is really just remembering who you are at your core. That is where the work is. The work isn't in striving. The work is not in affirming, visualizing, chasing. This is why that story in that book was so powerful about this woman simply setting the table for her man, and one day he just walked in there, showing the truth of the situation is that because I already have it, there's nothing I need to do, right? She could have been checking his social media. She could have been telling the story of, oh, I've been doing this for a month or how X amount of time and nothing's happening. What am I doing wrong? But no, she just did not waver, knowing with conviction that it must unfold in due time, in the perfect way. And I shall do nothing. I will not have to lift a finger. I will not have to lift a finger. If you do not get what you desire, right? If you do not get what you ask for, that would make the divine a liar. That would make the God within you a liar. And that source within you is not a liar. It's the only thing that you can depend on 100%, 1,000%. Right? But we have to be faithful. We have to give it to ourselves. We have to marry the version of ourselves that has it. You have to give it to yourself before the external reality can give it to you. Right? And yeah, I believe in a higher power, but also that higher power is within you. It is you. It is no different than you. Right? It can't be separate from you. Yes, absolutely I believe in that higher power, for sure. For sure. And then how do you always live in abundance even when you are lacking? Realize the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is because source is within you. You could not be in lack anyway. This is the truth. By us believing that we're in lack or thinking that we have to embody prosperity or we have to change, we are stating that we don't really think that we are divine. We don't think that God is within us, so we have to start working for it and reaching for it. Simply get the life that you want by doing less than you ever done. Acknowledge the truth of who you are. You've never been in lack. You were just looking and you were judging what you were based on the external world. Striving for lack, reaching for lack out in the world when the prosperity was always within you. Or reaching for prosperity in the external world when the prosperity was always within you. And because you were reaching for it out there, and source or the universe was like, hey, if you're reaching for it out there, it must be missing within you, so we're going to make it match. Instead of going down that path, simply relax into the truth. I am worthy right now because God is within me. What if I don't feel worthy? What if I don't feel abundant? I still am. What if I don't feel prosperous? I still am. What if I feel like I need to work? Well, you can still work for it, but understand that you still are. This is how you do it. It's not a feeling. Worthy or abundance, wealthiness is not a feeling. What's the feeling of that? It is absolutely not a feeling. It is simply who you are. It's your birthright. It's what you were born as. So that is the truth that we have to acknowledge within ourselves. That is how you live in abundance. It's the only way. Anything else is in vain. Striving is in vain. If who you are is naturally worthy, you trying to be worthy, you trying to be abundance, who you are is naturally abundance, you trying to be abundance is a statement that you don't believe you are. So just come back to the awareness. No matter what shows up, it's always working out for you. That situation is just fading away. It's unfolding perfectly. It's always unfolding perfectly. You are abundance. You can be nothing else. That's how you live in abundance. So know the truth of your being. Know the truth of your being. Okay. Know the truth of your being. Oh, let's see here. Is total reality. Is total reality on manifestation control? Boy, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Go and share. You have to ask my permission to share it in the chat. People say whatever they want in here. People drop whatever's on their mind. They drop it up in there, man. Don't let me stop you or start you. Whatever you want to say, you say it. Oh no, you good. You good. You good. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is a safe space, though. This is a safe space. It's total reality. So I'm guessing you're asking if you can control all of your reality. Is all of your reality able to be controlled? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The only limitation is the limitation that you put on yourself, right? Now, there are things that the collective, right, like world peace is going to take more than one person to manifest world peace. This is a collective effort to manifest world peace, right? But when it comes to your individual life, the things that impact you, absolutely. You make the decision whether you're impacted by certain things out there or not. You make that decision whether they become a crutch for you or they become a springboard that you can use to transmute the energy into whatever you want. It's all you, right? So on an individual level, how you experience your life is always going to be dictated by you. Now, what's happening to the totality of us as human beings, right? What we see on the news, that's manifested by everybody. But how you go through life and experience who you are through those circumstances, that's on us. Hopefully that answered it. Hopefully that answered it, my dad. Okay. A saying from the successor of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. His name is Umar. Got you, okay. Because I don't know whether good is in what pleases me or what displeases me. So, I got you. I got you. So it's whatever we see in our reality, you direct it from our subconscious mind, and unto now, up until now, is our life, has our life been directed from the unconscious mind? Well, it depends on how conscious you've been. So, in a sense, yes, right? You're always going to make a choice whether you're going to create your reality from consciousness or unconsciousness. So, when you're walking through life, right, people will tell you things. People will tell you how to think, what to expect all the time. Politicians will do that. Books will do it, right? We just went through the Florence Scovel Shinn, and right, why I think it's a great baseline. I love her work. Of course, I don't believe in everything that she says, right? We have to always make a decision on what to accept as truth for us or what not to. It's purely based on us. So your parents are going to say things, teachers are going to say things, schools are going to say things. And if we're just accepting everything and walking through life, just kind of going with the flow, then yes, we are unconsciously creating. And whenever I say unconsciously, what I'm referring to is it's other people's beliefs, whether we accept them or not, that's creating our reality. Or it's major assumptions we've made after like a painful situation or a good situation that just happens to run on autopilot within us. But the moment that we become conscious, none of that matters. So, and why I put it like this is because I want to highlight this point. It doesn't matter what you've created until now. There's no hole to dig out of. We'll tend to think that if I've been thinking like this for 20 years, or if I've been thinking like this for the last 3 relationships, then I'll probably have to do a whole lot of work to reprogram my subconscious to get what I want. That's not the truth. That's not the case at all. Okay? All it takes to change your reality right now is you stepping into consciousness and you decided from this moment forward, I'm going to do my best to only think what I want, to question all my beliefs, all my expectations, what I hear, my former thoughts, and I'm going to make the decision that in all situations I'm going to try to see good, I'm going to declare them for good, and I'm going to continue walking that quote-unquote righteous path. Once you do that, it doesn't matter. The subconscious replay, it doesn't matter, right? The only thing that matters is right now. In every now moment that I declare the truth of who I am, I'm source, I can only attract things that are likened to me. Now, I plant a seed in the future that I must go forward and meet. And so as I do that moment by moment, I'm creating a better future moment by moment. And when I become conscious right now, indefinitely, then I can only run into what I'm consciously creating, the story that I'm consciously creating. So it goes further than just consciousness and unconsciousness. For example, I could be conscious, but I could still be creating limitations. I could still be creating a limitation that, oh, I'm conscious and I've been affirming and I'm trying to watch my thoughts, but I don't feel right and I don't know if I'm watching my thoughts right. So I hope reality changes, but it might not change. That there, I'm being conscious, but I'm still not creating my reality from a way that makes sense to me. I'm making it conditional. I'm questioning if what I'm doing is right. I'm creating limitation. I'm creating a effort. Like I'm creating this wall that I have to break through. So don't think of it just in terms of consciousness or not. Consciousness is great. Consciousness is the key. It is the key. But what are you being conscious of? All right, this is why I'll say, okay, I want you to be conscious, but I also want you to be conscious and do this with as little effort as possible. Simply be conscious that everything is working out for you no matter what. No matter what you see, in all situations, it's all working out for you. And once you get to that point where you're consciously creating from that standpoint because you are source, creating as source, there's no separation. Reality must be like this because I am like this. Reality is me. I am reality. I'm not changing anything. It's all me. Once I step into that knowing, reality must change. It must mirror me. It has no choice. Right? So, yeah, long story short. And I used your question to just talk about what I wanted to talk about. But I did answer it in the process. So yeah. The truth is that, yes, you get whatever you want. Up until now, sure, you're subconscious. We can say you're subconscious. But even thinking that you have to reprogram a subconscious mind is limiting. What you say now is what matters. Just say, what you say now automatically reprograms the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind accepts everything. Everything. Subconscious mind accepts everything. I'm kind of quiet recently. I hope the quietness is you just kind of accepting, or maybe it's churning within you. Yeah, and I agree with that. We don't know if challenging circumstances are entirely bad. Things happen for us, not to us. Yeah, I agree with that. This is why even in Scripture, it says, "Judge not by appearances, but judge righteously." I always quote that Scripture because it's not even saying. From a human perspective, we can say things. So I like the way that you phrased it, right? That things happen for us, not to us. And that we don't know if challenging circumstances are entirely bad. That is the main question. We don't have the perception. None of us has the perception to look at reality, which is literally 0.001% matter. None of us has the perception to say if it's right or wrong. But we also know that whatever we declare it to be is what it must be. So if I don't have the perception to declare it as wrong, it would make no sense for me to declare it as wrong. And then if whatever I say it is, it must be, that would make even less sense for me to declare it as wrong. So me declaring anything as wrong is also because the kingdom is within me, because source is everything and everybody. Me declaring it wrong would be me calling God wrong. And so now it's like I'm violating all kinds of spiritual laws by saying something is wrong, by saying I don't have something, by saying it's not working out, by saying I'm doing something wrong, the circumstance looks bad. I'm I'm just blasting myself in the foot, in the hand, in the shoulder, and all these places by even saying it's wrong. So why would I do that? All right? It's all working out for me. It's all working out for me. We couldn't possibly judge right or wrong from our perspective. We don't see enough. This is why we have to walk by faith, not by sight. Because we don't see enough to walk by faith or walk by sight. Ooh, whoa. Slow down, Alex. We don't see enough to walk by sight. But yeah, beautifully put. Beautifully put. If I manifest a happy family and the current family was full of criminals I didn't know for all my life, now did it break for better future family? Okay. Hold up. I think I get it, but let me see if I understand this. I got you. Okay, if you manifest a happy family, but the family you manifested was full of criminals? Oh. I got you. So if you're trying to manifest having a happy family, but the current family was full of criminals that you didn't know for all of your life. Okay. Can you still get a better future family? Well, is it going to break up or is it going to change? First of all, let's highlight the limitation in that thought. Who says? Okay. Who says? This is us clinging to our identity, all right? Because you threw a big word in there. You said a family full of criminals. This just lets me know that you are clinging to the identity of these quote unquote criminals not being happy or not being able to be good for you or happy. Now, now we can look at this so many ways, but I'm going to look at this purely metaphysical. Get out of your logical mind right now. We are going to look at this purely from a metaphysical perspective, okay? The only limitations in what we want is what we can wrap our imagination around. The only limitation is us. We impose the limitations. So when I say that this journey of manifesting, because you're really not even manifesting shit, you're just choosing. You're choosing a perspective to get yourself, to allow whatever you want to show up in your reality. You're choosing a perspective. Now, I could say, I'm trying to manifest, but my family is full of criminals. Why are you holding on to that old story? If you want a happy family, that's what you have right now. Let go of the labels. Either the right version of those people will step forward, or you will find other people that become closer to you that you will start to call family. Whatever the case may be, it will be perfect. If you look in your mind and you see a perfect, happy family, and you have a happy family right now, and you identify all those people that were quote unquote criminals that you didn't know all your life, well, guess what? The version of them that conforms to what you want has to show up. This is absolute law. All right? So when we cling to our limitations, when we are the ones who are making the story, oh, it can't be like this, it can't be like that, it has to be like this, what about this, what about their past? We start trying to drag our past, drag our labels, drag our ego into the situation. This is why I say, you can have whatever you want. Anything after the but is bullshit. Okay, I want a happy family. Okay, cool, you have it. Right now you have it. But what about this, and I have this, and they're criminals, and that's bullshit. That part is bullshit, right? Just arguing. We're arguing for our limitations. And this happens all the time. This happens all of the time. When we're trying to argue and cling to our limitations, you have none. Go to the end and stay there. And the end creates the path. The end creates the path. Okay? I love y'all, how y'all greet each other, so kind to each other. The chat is so cool. The roof situation I told you about, turns out I spent money, but it's a fraction of what I would have paid. First time I sat back and let it work itself out. I'm always trying to figure it out. All right, so why did you pay? Did you have to pay? Or, okay, was your assumption that you wouldn't have to pay, or was your assumption that it would work itself out in a way? Because if your assumption was that it will work itself out, cool. But if your assumption was that from the beginning that you were not going to have to pay for it, if your assumption was that you did not have to pay for it, would you have stood in that assumption? I don't remember if you said you had the assumption that you weren't going to pay for it at all. I think it was just you had the assumption that it would work itself out. What's up, what's up? What's up, what's up? Okay, I got you. I didn't mean to call you out. I ain't mean to call you out. My bad. I apologize. But you do know if you stayed in the assumption that you didn't pay for it, it would. You wouldn't, I mean. Answer Ben's question. Let's see. What is the question? What is the question? I got you. I got you. Okay. You're curious about my balance of visualizing desired outcomes versus being. Oh. I feel like being naturally sees higher, so it's like a chicken or the egg scenario. Okay. I feel that. My bad, man. I didn't mean to ignore you. So, visualizing versus being. How do I feel about it? Well, I don't think that you have to visualize at all. I don't believe that you have to visualize. I don't think that you have to affirm at all. I don't believe you have to do anything. I simply believe that you have to be. And let me remind you, when I say be, what I'm saying is remembering that the kingdom is within you, and the kingdom includes everything. So when I say that you have to be to get what you want, what I'm truly saying is that you have to remember that you already have it. And by remembering that you already have it, you can grant it to yourself in consciousness, and you walk through life and knowing that it's unfolding. That is the being. It's working out no matter what. That is the being. I don't even have to change. I don't have to act differently. The only acting differently is telling the story that I already have it, and I already am the person that I desire to be. All right. So let's say I feel some lack, and I want to experience this thing because, for some reason I want it. All right. Now I am going to go into my imagination and grant it to myself. That's what I'll use visualization for. Right. Also, that's what I would use affirmations for, is to grant it to myself. But I don't believe in using visualizing or affirming as a means to get something. I like them as reminders of who you already are. If you're feeling a certain type of way, then you can lean on those affirmations and visualizations to do things. So that is my thought about it. That's my thought about it. Or is it always so I don't have to pay for it to work itself out? Or is it always a price? No, you don't have to pay at all. You don't have to pay. Everything is yours by right of conscience, right? When I think of paying the price, I think of striving or trying to be. And you cannot be what you already are. This is not a game of striving or becoming to get something. You don't have to become anything to get something. You already are everything. How can you, if you are infinite intelligence, if infinite intelligence is within you, and you are all that there is, you are infinite consciousness. Infinite consciousness. That means that you already are everything. So how could you change to be something that you already are? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When people embody things, or when they say they have to act as if, the reason why they're doing that is simply to enforce the knowing that they already have that which they want. What I desire is already mine. You don't need to act any kind of way. You simply need to remind yourself that what you desire already is yours. That's all that is. Even when people go down the path of even hard work, discipline, when you talk to entrepreneurs, business people, right? And they're like, oh God, it took me a hell of hard work. What the hard work refers to is they had to implement discipline over time, and that discipline embedded them with a mindset. And when they started believing that they were worth it, they deserved it, now it paid off. They were disciplined so long that I deserve this, it is mine, and boom, the money showed up. But you can reverse that process. You can understand that you earned it or you deserve it right now, because you do. Do not make this conditional. This is unconditional love within you, infinite intelligence within you. It is unconditional. It's an unconditional creative power within you, ready to grant you the desires of your heart, ready to grant you everything. And the only thing keeping us from getting the things that we want is that we refuse to believe we already are that person, right? We just think for some reason, we believe that we have to work or strive, and that is the very thing that keeps us out of alignment. It's not relaxing it to the knowing that you already are. Do the affirmations, do the visualizations from the perspective that you already are. When you act as if, do it from the perspective that you already are. Do not do these things to get something. This is not a transactional thing. You're not bribing God to give you things. It's already yours by divine right. You deserve it all. So simply know that. Simply know the truth. Be still and know that I am God. All right? I am the way. Your I am awareness is the way. Who I say I am is the way. I don't know how the prosperity is going to show up. Like that lady in Florence Scovel, she did not know how the man was going to show up. But since she decided that I am this, I am already that person in that loving relationship, and she was setting the table, he just walked in. Her being, who she was, who she declared herself to be, her I am awareness became the way. Me being this way creates the way. Me being this way is the truth. It's all it's all for you. It's all working out perfectly for you. Right? Good evening, good evening. It's all working out for you, right? So no, there's no price. As the Christians like to say, right? Jesus paid it all. Yeah, I am awareness already paid the price. Already paid the price. It already is, man. You are already everything that you desire to be. You already are it. You are infinite intelligence. You are source. God is within you. You are within God. You are inseparable. You can't separate you. You can't separate you. How do I feel about those statements often used? The act as though you already are, and act as though it already is. How do I feel about those statements often used? Sure, we can do it. I mean, you can do that. You can act however you want. What I'm trying to remind and constantly put is do whatever you want, but don't do them to get things. We go from praying to a God in the sky to starting to worship these affirmations and visualizations. There's nothing out there. It's all within you. You are the power, right? So it's just about, we could say it is how you're being, right? Knowing that you are source, knowing that I have everything by divine right, knowing that it's my Father's pleasure to grant me the desires of my heart, knowing that I'm absolutely perfect as I am, right? And then I do all those things from the awareness of who I already am. And that's the fuel that actually makes them worth a damn, right? Doing those without the awareness of who I am it's like trying to drive a car with no engine. It doesn't work. That's why people sit around and they affirm all day, visualize all day. And then they show up like, hey, Alex, bro, I can't get this right. And then when we start going, the problem is never the affirmations. We try to change. It's like we try to drive the car with no engine, and we think we have to give it better paint and then have to put better wheels on it. Or I don't know, I have to change this wording. I mean, that power is not an affirmation. It doesn't matter what you affirm. Source already know. You don't have to clarify the source, right? Before you ask, I will answer. The only way that the source within you can say that, the only way that the source within can know that is if the source within is you. Before you ask, I will answer. So what are you clarifying for? Why are you clarifying? The source already knows. You simply have to know that and walk through life. We're creating these limiting beliefs. It isn't working because I'm not clear enough. Limiting belief. It isn't working because I ain't affirming enough. Limiting belief. Am I not visualizing right? Limiting belief. These are all just limiting. We're making it conditional. Maybe I need to respond different to negative situations. How do I do that? Limiting belief. You're assuming that if I act a certain way, then I'll get what I want. If I do, it's already yours. You don't have to do shit because you're a source. And the moment that you truly embody, I don't have to do anything to get the life that I want. I can stop striving. You've been striving your whole life. And then you come into this manifestation space and then you get some information. You start striving in a different way. Your striving never worked. It never worked. This is why we're here. It's because the striving didn't work, right? So now we have to flip that process. It's not enough just to get the spiritual information and then use the same worldly techniques to try to implement it. We have to die to the old self. Right? We have to relax into the knowing of who we are. We have to die to the moment that you catch yourself hustling with your affirmations the same way that you hustle at that job for 3 years for a 2% raise, just know you might want to take a deep breath and re-examine your actual core beliefs about who you are. It's one thing to know that I'm source intellectually. It's another thing to know and walk around saying, because I am this, because I am reality, who I am must also be reflected in reality. There's no separation. Therefore, when I start to decrease something, voila, it shows up magically, beautifully, with no effort. Right? Remove the conditional thinking. Remove the conditional thinking. You don't get a 2% raise from the source within you for affirming more. You already have everything. Now, I'm not saying those things now. I'm not saying if you robotic affirm for a couple of days, you're not going to get what you want. You are. You still will. You still will. Right? But why? It's because you don't even have to know. I'm just trying to give you the easiest way to do things. You can still get it, because when you do something for that long, you don't even allow your mind to think opposite. So it shows you the strength of your mind. All I'm saying is I want you to enjoy your life, know that your source, whatever you see, whatever you go through, know that it's still unfolding perfectly for you. Boy, slanging them affirmations like a dope dealer. Right? I'm finna sell them. Give you a dime bag of affirmations. Right? Matter of fact, I give you a zip of affirmations. Come on. Right? You're not hustling affirmations. You're not selling source on your faith. You're simply embodying who you truly are. Just embody who you truly are. Right? No, there's no need to affirm. I like that. Here we go. What you said about everything after but is bullshit is real. I was just thinking about that this morning when I was reflecting. It said, instincts is a lie told by a fearful body hoping to be wrong. Man, what? Instincts is a lie told by a fearful body hoping to be wrong. And he proceeds to say that when you base your expectations on what you see, you blind yourself to a new reality. Bars. When you base your expectations on what you see, you blind yourself to a new reality. Pure bars. Good night. Y'all have a beautiful one, all right? So there is no need to affirm then, right? Absolutely. There's no need to affirm, but I'm going to question you on this. Why are you asking that? Are you asking that because you're trying to find a technique that works? Or are you asking that because you are so conscious of the fact that you are source and that everything is working out perfectly in the direction of what you want, that you don't need to do affirmations, and you can just relax in who you're being and you can enjoy life? Or are you doing it because you think I just told you a technique? That's what I would question you on. So the short answer is yes. Or the short answer is no. There's no need to do affirmations. You don't need to do affirmations. You don't need to do visualizations. They're a nice tool to remind you of who you are, to kind of calm you down when you feel lack, so you can grant yourself that thing in consciousness through your visualizations, through your affirmations. But are they a requirement? No. Nowhere in scripture does it say, nowhere in these spiritual texts does it say, thou shalt affirm. Thou shalt affirm and get what they want, right? But also remember, every word you say is an affirmation. So when I'm talking about you don't have to do affirmations, I'm saying you don't have to consciously repeat the same shit over and over again. You don't have to do that. Source heard you the first time, but did you hear yourself the first time? Hey, that was a bar right there. That was a bar. Source heard you the first time. Source heard you the first time, but did you hear yourself the first time? Right? Your question about unconscious manifestation. Not motivation. You don't need motivation. They're a reminder of who you already are. You already are everything. Okay? When I say that you have it, right? When I say that you have it, a quote early from a cartoon called The Avatar. Hey, bro, I was wondering who the hero was. I was like, I wonder who that is. Let me look him up. From Avatar. Still a bar. Avatar is actually cool. Because they go through the chakras on Last Airbender. It's interesting the information that you can get from a lot of these, especially anime. You can get a lot of information from anime. A lot of it, but that's funny. All right, so finding out they were criminals led to them trying to unalive you. Basically, I was living a family life full of lies. So my question, my whole life, I thought I was in a good family, which is basically unconscious manifestation. Why didn't this unconscious manifestation change them? My question. Your whole life, you thought you were in a good family, which is basically unconscious manifestation, all right? But whenever you found out that they were a certain thing, then something unfolded. I think you answered your own question. Why didn't this unconscious manifestation change them? Because you thought they were good. Why weren't they? Me finding out they were criminals led to them trying to kill me. So I was living a family life full of lies. All right, so I'm going to need you to dig into your consciousness and see this, all right? We also have to think about things two ways. We always have to. We also have to think of these things, right? Sometimes I admire myself with the way that I say things, all right? It's funny. When we are kids, we are very impressionable. Before we become conscious, we have different beliefs and expectations that are programmed within us. All right. So a lot of the things that we can experience, especially in like our young, early adulthood, before we actually become truly conscious, are typically products of our family programming, right? So family said certain things. This is why we say, well, if we're all creating our reality, how come bad things happen to children? Because children are impressionable. Children are always walking around in damn near theta brain waves. Whatever you say to a child goes straight to the superconscious, goes straight to the source within them, right? Kids are extremely impressionable, right? So we have to be very mindful of the fears we instill in them, because kids walk around and their reality transpires very, very quickly. They're always in a state of imagination. They're always in Delulu land, right? So oftentimes when we're in our young adulthood, we'll see that a lot of things happen that are a byproduct of our parents. But once you get to a point where you start to see the patterns, right, we can always go back and be like, okay, well, I only expected this. Well, how come this thing happened, right? Was I always 100% expecting purely good things to happen to me in general? Sure, we can go back and say, oh, well, I thought my family was good, but I mean, everybody experiences that. Everybody thinks their family is perfect, and they get older and they start seeing the chinks in their armor. That's a natural state of being, right? But now as we come into consciousness, how do we hold on to our expectations of our family? How do we start to morph? All right, how do we use our own consciousness for our good? Right? Whatever we've expected, I'm not saying your situation is not bad. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that when we try to make our story the exception, sometimes we can forget that, yeah, sure, something awful happened, but you're still here. You're still here. And now you have the opportunity from this moment to create something in the future. I'm never going to say that what happened to you, right? From a human to human perspective, from a human to human, right? From a physical perspective, I'm not going to say what you went through doesn't matter, but from a spiritual, from a metaphysical perspective, I'm going to say, okay, well, we can sit and we can question why certain things happen, or we can embody what we want right now and we can move forward, knowing that what we embody right now is going to change the future, right? Not who you are right now also changes the past, but in this case, right, I think you're so attached to that and keep pulling that into the present moment that you have to get to the point where you start to create from this moment moving forward. You have to create from this moment moving forward. The more that you bring the past into the present, it's going to continue to become the future. You are just pulling the past into the present, and then you're flinging it into the future so you can experience more of it. You don't want that, and I don't want that for you. And I do not want that for you. All right? So that's the advice that I would give you. Because we can all tell the story of what we don't want. We can all tell the story of what happened to us, right? People can always tell a story about abuse. And, I don't know. How did I create my reality when I was expecting nothing but good, right? Well, when we're unconscious, when we're young, there are lots of things that slip by our awareness. But now that we become conscious, we have an obligation to ourselves to start paying attention to all of our patterns moving forward. Let the past be what it was. Now you can change everything from this moment moving forward. This is where your power is. Your power is not trying to change the past. Your power is trying to embody who you want to be right now, and then moving forward in that knowing. And allowing all the chips to fall where they need to fall. There's nothing back there. There's nothing back there. Right. Parents just giving prophecy, just speaking prophecy over their kids without knowing it. Parents speaking prophecy to their kids, not knowing it, and it's not that parents are trying to do things, for a bad reason. It just is what it is, right? They're just doing the best that they can. Right? They're just doing the best that they can. Especially from a black perspective, I always have to remind people this and talk about this especially from a melanated perspective, is that the way that our parents raised us, they were just trying to survive, right? Like, the generation before us, of ether beings, of 9 ether beings, of carbonated, of melanated foes. These people were not consciousness, raising their consciousness was the least of their concerns. Right? Like, I was just trying to figure out how to make it to the next day. So there's a lot of grace that we have to give, all right, to our last generation, right? It could have led us in some sticky situations, but from this point moving forward, we have the opportunity to create our life the way that we want, right? Yeah. Is that Florence, the measles story? Yeah, yeah. I think that's Florence. All right. My child doesn't have them yet. Exactly. Just speaking prophecy. My kid doesn't have the measles yet. The fuck you mean yet? Yeah, you mean yet? He doesn't have them. Period. Because of course, when we start speaking like that, they have to get it. We have to confront that future eventually. I think a lot of even this consciousness journey was me thinking about a lot of things that went on in my childhood and having to let them go. So how do you let things go? Well, you do it moment by moment as those items come into your awareness, right? And what I have noticed is my relationship with my parents is better than it's ever been. Even though we disagree on more than we ever have before, by me understanding that they just are who they are and meeting them where they are and giving them grace and shit, loving them unconditionally just for bringing me into this reality. I mean, that's enough. That is enough. Everything that else that they did, whether they were there or not, right? They were just doing what they thought was best for them in that moment, and that's all they could do. They weren't looking out for this version of me. They were looking out for that version of them. That's it. Right? Then on top of that, they were going through shit. They were separated. They couldn't go in this bathroom. Like, God damn, right? They weren't thinking about sitting around in meditation. They were thinking about surviving day to day. That's what they were worried about. And so understanding that and giving them that grace, like, has allowed me to grow in a lot of different ways, right? I don't need to reincarnate the dead. I don't need to bring the dead to life. Let the dead stay dead. Like let the old things, let the old reality stay there. What benefit does it do me to look down and criticize my parent? Like the way that I love myself, looking into the mirror, the way that I care about myself. And it took a long time to get here. If I truly love myself and who I am today, how could I look back at anything that happened to me and who would I be without those situations? Would I be here? Right? Sure, there were situations that in the time felt like death. In the time, that motherfucker was hard, right? However, would I be the same person if I removed the situation? How would removing one domino have redirected my life? Who's to know? Who's to say? Who's to say would I be here, right? You know, my brother, God rest his soul, right? Passed. Like who's to say I wouldn't be here? And so we have to grant grace. As we grant grace and give grace, right, we can step into better versions of ourselves. We can have a better relationship with my parents. If I was still harboring resentment from, things that happened in the past, right? Who would I be? Who would I be? What kind of person would I be? How would I impact others' lives? And we all know that's another energy exchange in itself, right? I do good for one person, that makes them a little bit better, then they're in a better mood to treat other people well, and then that energy passes. If I was just walking around pure negative, pure bitter, holding on to what my parents did, what happened when I was young, this and that, this ex, this woman, that, just holding on to that shit. And then I'm showing up in a certain way and I'm just infecting everybody around me. Right? So, it's not about other people. It is about us. But, the truth is that everybody is us. Everybody is me. Right? So why wouldn't I, yeah, I'm worthy of everything. Yeah, the internal work doesn't make me more worthy or less worthy, but it just makes me a better person to interact with everybody else who are also just different versions of me trying to make it through this reality. We can all sit down, bro. We could all have a one-on-one. And if we started talking about the things that we went through, we could all talk for hours. Some of us might be a little bit more humble than others. But there's no man that doesn't have scars. No one leaves this world unhurt, untouched. Absolutely nobody. Right? We can all use our pain and make an excuse. All of us. Nobody has a clean story of pure perfection. Right? Everybody got some times that were cut a little deeper than they wanted to be. But who do you become after you go through those things? Do you begin to identify with those? Or do you choose to be that beautiful, divine person that you always have been? Do you alchemize that pain? Right? Are you the person that because you were hurt, you want to hurt others? Or do you become more beautiful? Do you take that path of beauty? Right? It takes a special person to be a kind soul, right, y'all? The inner beauty within you, it was earned. You had to earn it. It wasn't given to you. You were born as a child and you went through things and you had to make active choices to stay beautiful. That heartbreak could have turned you bitter. That betrayal could have turned you bitter. There were a lot of things you went through that could have made you take a different path, but you didn't. Do you understand how special that is? How special you are? That in this world, when you turn on the news, when you turn on social media, people are just trying to tear people down. People be in the comments trying to tear your ass down for no fucking reason. Just mad, just somebody hurt them and now they just want to go spread that shit. They have nothing better to do. Right? People step into the victim mentality. They just assume the role of a fucking loser. But to take the opposite path, right? To take the narrow road, the road less traveled, that takes bravery. That's a different thing. That's different than most people do, right? That's so special. It's such a beautiful thing to see, right? Because when you talk to somebody and they have a beautiful soul and they're trying to help you and they, they just radiate love. You know there was a time they had to make a choice to continue to go down that path of love. And they had to make that choice more than once, more than twice. Had to make that choice a few times, right? So thank yourself. Thank the past things that you've been through for getting you to where you are right now. Thank that version of you. Don't change. Do not change, right? Can we protect our loved ones for them to grow old? Okay. Yes and no. Yes, you can. Everybody in your reality conforms to your expectations of them, okay? Everybody in your reality conforms to your expectations of them. everybody. And when I say everybody, I want to highlight that because, like Neo in the Matrix, when he's talking to the Oracle, and she says, you're going to have to make a decision. Either Morpheus dies or you die. One of you is going to die, right? She basically gives him this choice. Okay. Why I like that is because it highlights this reality that, yes, everybody is you pushed out and everybody is this version of you. However, do you spend your energy focused on changing everybody, on choosing a different version of everybody? Or do you focus on what is important to you in your life? Because of the nature of everybody, and you're experiencing all these different aspects of yourself that are pushed out into all these different versions of people, you're going to meet lots of people that are going through limitation, are reflecting lack. And some of these people could be in situations and you feel like you could save them, you could protect them, right? I know you shouldn't be with that person. Just listen to me and stop going back. And they continue to push, right? And when you're using force and we're not understanding how we're creating that version of them, right? We continue to try to save them from a situation that perhaps that version of their soul has to experience. Because that's character development, right? This is why even, on another metaphysical way, I would say, judge not by appearances. Right? We could see somebody going through something that we don't agree with, but we don't really understand the fullness or the depth that they need to experience in that situation. So yes, if your sibling or your parent has something, they have a condition, and you see them as absolutely perfect, yes, they will change. You would change them. However, there are 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion, okay? You're not changing 8 billion people. This is still a collective consciousness where we are manifesting as a whole, and we're also manifesting on an individual level. Okay? I love how this puzzle piece used to always show up whenever I was in flow state. And the first couple times I saw it, I was like, damn, it always shows up when I'm in flow state. And then I made a statement when it happened. I was just in the middle of flowing. I made a statement. I was like, man, this shit always fucking happens while I'm in the flow. This puzzle piece comes up and I have to move it. And then I was like, you know what? Why do I keep saying that? I'm going to stop identifying with that. I'm the one creating that. And I had said that on live. And now it's like every time that I take a pause, the puzzle piece played. Like just then, the moment that I paused for a second, I was done. I was going to start reading the comments. The puzzle piece popped up. Right? And typically it popped up like around the hour mark when I was usually getting done with the lectures. Today it pops up after a while when I'm finally starting to get out of flow. So the only algorithm is the one within us. Point blank period. What if they don't see it for themselves? Well, I mean, how do you know? Is that another limiting belief? How do you know that they don't see it for themselves? How do you know that? Okay, if you want to grow old with your partner, yes, you can assume that you will. The only limitation is the one that you put on this. It's the only limitation. See them as speaking differently. Don't hold on to what they see. Judge not by appearance, but judge righteously. That version of them that's still not the version of them that you see. It's just the middle. It's still changing. It is still changing. Don't settle for less. How much battery am I on? Oh, I still got 14. Okay. Don't settle for less. If you assume that, that's what will happen. Guys, the only limitation that you have is what you say. That's it. The only limitation. All right, it's 11:15. You know what I'm saying? Your boy getting a little tired, a little sleepy. All right. So let's do some affirmations, and I'll let y'all go. I got a few affirmations today. Okay? Go and sit back and feel these. Before you go to sleep, go and sit back. Go and feel these. Go and know that you already are these, all right? Yes. And before I start these, let me just say one thing. Let me get right into it. All right? The only limitation that you have, hear me when I say this. The only limitation that you have is the limitation you put on yourself. When Source says, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added onto you. It doesn't say some of the things that you decree will be added. When it says whatsoever you ask in the Father's name, it doesn't say some of the things that you ask will be given. It says all of them. Whatever is unconditional. It will be added. Will does not mean future. Keep in mind, the Source doesn't see time. Only we see time. So will is a statement of ownership. So when we're asking questions like, so I can't do this, what about this? We are the ones who are adding those limitations. Nowhere the Source give you a limitation. We are the ones that say, oh, certain things have to be righteous. What does righteous really mean? In accordance with what you want to see, judge not by appearance, but judge righteously. This is a purely metaphysical statement. Don't judge because it looks like shit. No, it is working out perfectly towards what you want. That is what righteous means. Just because they're speaking opposite, judge righteously, not by appearance. Don't worry, this version of you is fading away. And the version that I see in my mind's eye, the perfect, loving version of you, is coming forward. The only limitation is what you have. Everything after but is bullshit. Everything. I understand I'm Source. I understand I can change people, but bullshit. Everything after but is bullshit. But what about this? What if they have limiting beliefs? What if they say this? What if that? None of that matters. It doesn't matter. The same way you've been trying to manifest prosperity, or you've been trying to manifest that specific person, and you hit them up and they cuss you out. It doesn't matter. It's just not done yet. It's the unfolding. It's the same way you're trying to, get a different version of this person, choose a different version of this person, and they show up still with limiting beliefs. It doesn't matter. It's still unfolding perfectly. It's not the end. It's not the end. Judge not by appearance, judge righteously. Blessed is he who sees, blessed is he who believes before he sees. Okay? Blessed is he who believes before he sees. Let's get into these affirmations, all right? Sit back, relax, feel these affirmations. Truly feel them. I am not searching for completion. I am the echo of eternity made flesh, whole, holy, and home in myself. Cool. All right. My every step is intertwined with divine intelligence. Even the detours are parts of destiny's design. I surrender not out of weakness, but out of sacred trust, knowing that the current of life is love in motion. I do not chase love or abundance. I do not chase love. I do not chase abundance. How can I chase what I am? I remember that I am the field in which all blessings are born. We still got a couple. We still got a couple. I got you. Still got a couple. My mind is still. My heart is sacred ground. And my soul whispers the language of the infinite. I appreciate you. We all in this together. I no longer bargain with fear. I do not bargain with fear. Fear is a terrorist. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Right? I stand uncloaked in truth, sovereign, seen and sent by the divine. I am sent by the divine. I am the Word made flesh. You are the Word made flesh. Your word is law. Your word is law. Okay, here we go. Let's get a little bit more powerful now. Creation answers to me. Your conscious mind is Adam. You were given the task. You were given dominion. Name the animals. This is metaphor for look out in your reality and say whatever you want it to be. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Creation answers to me. I am the voice of God, remembering itself through the script of my becoming. Oui. I am the voice of God, remembering itself through the script of my becoming. What tries to break me only reveals the indestructible source within me. What tries to break me only reveals the indestructible source within me. Fire forging gold from shadow. Oh yeah, I got two more for you. Stick around a while, two more, all right? I move not in rush. I do not rush. I move in holy certainty. I do not rush. I move in holy certainty. My purpose is not a task, but a frequency I embody. Yeah. My purpose is not a task, but a frequency I embody. It's just who I am. I wake up in this frequency. No matter how I feel, I declare I am that frequency. I am the frequency. Do you understand that? You are the frequency of God. I feel like God was a little bit more powerful than to say source or infinite intelligence. You are the frequency of God. Your words are the frequency of God. Your thoughts are the frequency of God. You are the frequency of God. Right? The frequency of God. I got you, my sister. Don't worry, I'm gonna put these in the YouTube video. All right? And then the last but certainly not least, I am not separate from the source. I am the breath of God exhaled into this moment. Radiant, real, and divine. I am not separate from source. Oh. I am not separate from source. I am the breath of God exhaled into this moment. Radiant, real, and divine. I already know that y'all felt these. Remember, you already are. You already are every single one of these affirmations. This is who you are. This is who you are. Do you understand? Look in the mirror. This is who you are. Absolute divinity, absolute perfection, absolute abundance, absolute worthiness, absolute love, absolute wealth, absolute everything divine. You are the Word made flesh. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. You are the Word made flesh. You are God made flesh. Word, God, Lord, law, all the same things is all wrapped up in your divine ass. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Do you understand that? You feel me, right? I want you from this moment forward to make the decision that no matter how you feel, you are perfectly in alignment with everything you want. No matter what you see, is all working out perfectly. No matter how I feel, I wake up sad, I wake up happy, I wake up mad, I wake up with anxiety. I don't care. I'm still in perfect alignment. It's all working out for me. All of it. Rest in the knowing that you don't have to do shit. Rest in the knowing. You don't have to do shit. Rest in the knowing that you are already that which you want to be. The version of you you've been trying to become, you already are it. It is already within you. Rest in it. No matter how you feel, I am that I am, no matter what. No matter what. Okay? If you don't believe it, it's cool because I see you as all of these things anyway. Right? I see you as all of these things, so I know that it must be true. All right? Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed evening. As always, I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate this space that, we're all starting to create together. And, this is just as beneficial for me as I trust, it is for y'all. Right? You deserve everything that you desire. Everything. The money, the women, the men, the lifestyle, the car, the house, the crib, you deserve it all. And you are in alignment with it all right now. Not after you do some work, not after you feel better, not after you do the shadow work and you reprogram the mysterious, spooky subconscious. Ooh. But right now. Right now, you're in perfect alignment. You deserve it all. Right? I just had to let this moment sit. I'm enjoying this moment. I had to let this moment sit, right? But now, y'all have a good one. Y'all have a good one. Peace out. Until next time, God willing. Right? Peace.